Their intention was to subvert the SNP. This is sensible, isn't it? Their intention was to subvert the SNP. This is sensible, isn't it?
He's doing a pretty good job.
This is sensible, isn't it?
He's doing a pretty good job.
I'm actually not laughing.
He's had to mute himself because he can't stop laughing in between.
I'm actually not laughing.
This is sensible, isn't it?
He's doing a pretty good job.
It resonates greatly within me.
This is sensible, isn't it?
He's doing a pretty good job.
I'm actually not laughing.
He's had to mute himself because he can't stop laughing in between.
I'm actually not laughing. It resonates greatly within me.
This is sensible, isn't it?
He's doing a pretty good job.
I'm actually not laughing. It resonates greatly within me.
He's doing a pretty good job. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Please delete as applicable because the internet is worldwide and time zones are indeed a thing. As always, whenever I have guests on, I'm not going to say hello to everybody in the chat, but I will put your comments up on the screen to acknowledge your presence. And with no further ado, I'm going to introduce my two good friends. First of all, Tinfoil Communion, what about you, chum?
Everything's a conspiracy theory. Everything.
Yes. The problem, but those of us that are keeping score figured out that the conspiracy theorists are running about 37-0 at the minute. But yes, it is. It is. I will also say that whenever you look at the tin foil on the shops, it says aluminium foil, and tin reflects the waves, the radio waves, whereas aluminium conducts them. So we don't wear those hats anymore.
Well, mine's proper tin, mate. I got mine special from Cornwall. There's a hidden mine. There's a hidden mine that's still being used that specifically produces. If you look at my tinfoil hat, it's got that slightly yellowish tinge, so it is definitely tin. There you go.
Excellent. Resisting Lies, DJ, what about you, chum?
What, like? I could have swore this is deja vu. It's almost as if I've just done this. Yeah. Not entirely sure what I was thinking about doing two streams back to back, like, but you know, I am a man of principle, and here I am again. I'm hoping to see Constantine in the chat. We kind of got off on the wrong foot towards the end there, mate. You know, apologize for putting an E at the end of your name. It's not right of me. I know you Italian-looking fuckers kind of get a bit funny with stuff like that. I'm sorry, mate. Won't happen again. I'll call you Connie for short, the way. Hiya.
All right. Let's see.
Fucking hell, there's a name I haven't seen in a while. Slim. Holy
yeah. Shit. He drops in the odd Saturday night. Yep. Sansom, what are we like with housekeeping? Do we have any?
Yeah, we've got a couple of bits, mate. It's just basically to say that tomorrow night Rags is on a little bit earlier than usual. He's on at 6 o'clock tomorrow night, and he's doing a stream with Matt the Angry Bootneck. It's essentially their end of month stream, shall we say, which they always do with Matt. And it's a little bit early because obviously Matt's in the States. And then on like the usual sort of thing that we do for our good friend John Davidson, he streams. At the moment, he's streaming either on a Tuesday or Friday, as and when he feels like it. But he did mention yesterday on the movie stream that he might stream on Tuesday night. So please keep an eye out for John's stream on Tuesday night, and hopefully he does one, and hopefully see you there.
Excellent.
Well, I'll be honest, I was fucking quite surprised to see him streaming so soon after his announcement about starting chemo. Like, fair play to him. Yeah, so I kind of held back.
He's got
back from emailing him because I didn't want to really disturb him. But I'm probably going to still stick to that. Just don't want to look like I'm being an ignorant dick or whatever. But I mean, if he's able to stream in that, then that's a good sign, really.
He was in good fettle last night, and like I say, in the back room, plenty of fire in the belly. So God bless you, John. Everybody's with you, just as they are with our good friend Gammon Sandwich as well. So
yeah.
Yep, seen Gammon in the chat. The other thing I want to say is Dave's Waffle House. Pretty much every evening apart from Saturday at 8:30. It's good crack. And if any of the wafflers are in here tonight, tomorrow ends we'll find out who won all the prizes. The points are all done. The sham's finished, and the rubbish prizes will be given out. So, yeah. And if you're a loose end in the evening and you want something to very lighthearted and a good bit of banter with like-minded people, Dave's Waffle House is the spot for you. So there's that. That's all of my shout-outs. I seen Al Mac in the chat there. Al Mac and Justice Kane will be coming back on for another stream because we've got something in the works. So there's that.
Well, I look forward to that one because, like I say, Al Mac can do no wrong in my eyes. Absolute production genius. I wish I had his talents in both being able to play instruments and also to the production side of it. That track that you did the voiceover to with Justice King. Is it Justice King? Did you say? I can't. Kane.
Justice Kane.
Justice Kane.
Justice
and
Kane.
Al Mac.
Yep.
Why is that not a fucking hit parade record? Because I'll tell you something now. If that record, if what you'd produced had come out in the late 80s, early 90s, because of the political aspect of it as well, that would have been a fucking number one. It probably would have been banned from being played in mainland Britain, but that would have been a fucking number one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Really good stuff.
It's still sitting on around about 250 views. So it's not being shared out or anything, obviously.
How many?
250. I will check it
right,
now.
Well, I'll tell you what. Is your shit auto fucking like auto copyright bollocks off Susan sort of thing? Because next week, if Bonnie Lad isn't streaming and I do one, I'll play us out with that because it's a fucking great track.
Oh no, you'll not get a copyright thing from it. If it does,
have you got the MP4 of it? Or did you just play it straight from YouTube? Well, I'll tell you what, chuck me the MP4 in Telegram, and I'll play. If I do a stream next week, I'll play out with that as well. Get a, the masses of fans, all 30 of them or what.
Yeah.
But even so, there'll be some people who, like Anglo's in your chat tonight, but he wasn't in mine earlier on. But there's that little cross-pollination. So
yeah,
I'll stick it on. Is it okay if you give me the MP4? Is it okay for me to stick that on my Telegram and that as well?
I can't see there being a problem with that.
Well, I'll tell you what, before you send it me, just ask Al and Justice Kane. Yeah?
Yes, I'll send the messages out. Al's in the chat, so he's heard all this. But yes, I will message Al and Justice Kane, and we'll see what we can do about getting it spread about. We do definitely want to get it out there. And the next project we're working on is different, let's say.
Good. Well, no, but I mean, that one, that was perfect because I don't know if it was in a private chat between you and I, and I said to you, whereabouts is that in East Belfast? Because the Murals, I couldn't recognise them. You said, oh, they're only a couple of years old. I thought, right, okay.
Yes, they were around about every 10 to 15 years. The big murals get redone, either painted up there's a constant job going on of getting them, keeping them pristine, as it were. But every so often they do a thing where they just redo things, and that was a cracking thing. There's quite a few murals that went that type of style, looking back to the early 70s. It would almost make you think that the people who are doing the murals and whatnot are trying to remind everybody that there could be a possibility of people out in the streets again. It wouldn't be the first time, But so there is that. DJ, what's going on with you, chum?
Oh, fuck all, really, mate, to be honest. It's been one of those weeks. Well, probably actually a few rough weeks, in all honesty. Like, started last week, found out that a member of my family passed away, but relatively young. I'm not going to go into the details as to how it happened, but I mean, you can probably understand via the way that I'll continue to speak about the matter briefly, that you can kind of get the gist. But it's a subject that I'm kind of passionate about, and that's the way that she passed away. So that was a bit of a Debbie Downer for the start of the week. And then when you thought things couldn't really get much worse in terms of your mindset, that fucking dog had an accident at the start of the week. I don't know what he did. I'm assuming he jumped off the bed or fell off the bed or something in the middle of the night. So most of the week he was just totally bedbound. He would not move. Went to the vet. Thought it was like a torn ligament or something. And he couldn't even even if he touched his leg. The first day in the morning, he collapsed in a heap on the floor. And if he went to touch his leg, he'd start growling. But as the days went on, he just didn't react, which is really weird. So my mom sort of fucking convinced me that maybe he's paralyzed, because he was doing the toilet in the house and all this as well. He refuses to go outside and piss now. He's doing it in the house. So my mom was convinced that he's paralyzed. But as luck would have it, today he's sort of hobbling about again, and he's starting to turn into an annoying little cunt again. So he's going back to his old self. Typical Jack Russell, barking every 2 seconds. You can't get a minute's peace. So my few moments of silence have now dissipated, but I'll take it. So not really much in terms of positivity to report, in all honesty, but hi. That's about it, really.
Mate, sorry for your loss.
I don't worry about it, but I mean, I didn't really know her per se. It was just more weird because she was, I wasn't related to her, but she was in the chat sometimes. And I've seen some people speaking about her in other chats and whatnot. People knew who she was. She went to protests and all that. But fucking, I had to sort of keep stewing that we were ever related. Really, it's one of those things. But yeah. Sort of strange from that side of the family, in all honesty. So it's not like I was really upset about it. It was just more sort of aftermath, which I'm not going to get into live on air, obviously. But stuff that I was told by the person that told me she died, I was like, what the fuck? So not great, but it's almost October, so we'll look forward to it. We're getting closer to 2030 where we're all going to die of global boiling, so that's fine.
Actually, I heard it's the 7th of December. Everything's going down.
Yeah.
Right, that's another one for Mr. Tinfoil Hat. I have no idea of the validity of it, or how or where it came from, but I've seen in a couple of places people say on 7th of December it's all going down. Probably nothing, but there you go.
Another one of these doomsday things. You know what though? What we were saying on the stream just before we come on here though, this is peak Weimar now. I'm at a point now where I'm praying for a fucking meteor or something. So if it's coming, it better come soon, because there's not really much more I think my mindset can take of seeing all this nonsense that's going on. See drag queens and shit on the TV is one thing, but it's something I'm not going to just bang the same drum over and over again. But I really can't get my head around how fucking hard they're politicizing children. I thought I think that kind of was the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of me having any faith in my fellow man, because the vast majority of people, even the ones that have kids, they just don't give a fuck. Like, oh, well, nah, mate, like, do you not have any fucking knowledge of what they're being taught in school, what they're intending to teach? Does it not bother? Like, it's like all these different aspects of what they're doing, the climate BS, gender BS, fucking diversity this, critical race theory, that. Like, it's just relentless. Like, and it's no wonder that, like, mental health for children is at an all-time high, climate anxiety only being a part of it, all these different things, and like nobody just, it's fine. Like, my kid, they just see fucking school as a means to put their kid for somewhere for a couple hours so they can go to their dead end job. I mean, I don't know, like, it's just talk about black pill, but yeah.
The other problem with that is it's the parents that are politically active and pushing all those agendas that are the ones that are but they're the ones that are interested in what's going on in the school, join the parent teacher association, push the stuff through, whereas our people are not at the school gate, are not in the meetings, are not putting their voice forward. It's happening in America, but it's not happening here.
Yeah. Maybe it's one of those things where it has to get worse before it gets better. But I mean, that's a saying I've heard for years now. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Like, it started off with the gender stuff, obviously. We all know about that. I think the sort of slippery slope. It's even the climate BS. How hard they're pushing that. It's in schools to children, not even teenagers, like children. Like, today, instead of learning your 1 times table, we're going to learn about climate change, what? And carbon and whatnot. It's just relentless. And I used to think anyway, that people would look at what was happening in schools and see that that's the future that they intended for all of us. And people, if they even pay any attention, take one look at it and go, oh, well, fuck it.
Well, which brings on one of the stories that I was wanting to cover. Do you remember the band, the straws, the plastic straws, and the world hasn't? Well, we're now on to plastic forks and chippies. I shit you not, this is true. Right. England is banning single-use plastics. Some companies were not aware it was going to happen. Firms told the BBC they were not aware of a ban in England single-use plastic cutlery, plates and polystyrene trays that comes into force on Sunday. That's tomorrow. The ban does not extend to plastic containers and trays used in takeaways for prepackaged food in shops. Environmental campaigners say the new rule does not go far enough and call the government's approach piecemeal. The government said it was the next big step in its journey to eliminate all avoidable plastic waste by 2042. Wales plastics ban may not be until 2026. Waste from across the world found on a remote British island. That's going to be more bullshit. Plastic pollution takes hundreds of years to break down, harms waterways and is a source of greenhouse gases. From Sunday, 1st of October, shops, takeaways, foods, vendors, and other hospitality businesses will no longer be able to sell single-use plastic cutlery, balloon sticks, polystyrene cups, or food containers. It follows a similar ban in 2022 on single-use straws, stirrers, and cotton buds.
And yet people still buy online. Imagine that.
Now, see in all the reporting on this, I'm not going to read this whole article because it's just more bullshit. In all the reporting, there's one aspect that has been absolutely missing from this ban that's coming the place tomorrow, because we do see this will absolutely shock you. Get this one up. Single-use plastic ban by European Parliament. Yep, it is up. So, the European Parliament has voted for a complete ban on a range of single-use plastics across the Union in a bid to stop pollution in the oceans. MEPs backed the ban on plastic cutlery, plates, cotton buds, straws, drinking stirrers, and balloon sticks. The proposal also calls for the reduction of single-use plastic for food and drink containers like plastic cups. What's happened is, despite the fact that we left the European Union to get away from all this bullshit, England has taken it upon itself without asking the public, and they have just went ahead and implemented the latest European directive, which is supposed to be fuck all to do with us.
It's funny you say that, because literally like maybe an hour before the last stream was on, I was clipping stuff, and one of the clips that I took was just like the latest development in regards to the Scottish government's determination to be as closely aligned with European Union laws as possible. And the reason that they give now is that they wish to do so. So when it comes to such a time as we get our independence, it'll make the process of rejoining quicker if we have all the same laws. I mean, I just think it's ridiculous in many respects. Like, ever since we left, allegedly, the EU, all our government has done is effectively look to see what laws they're passing over in Europe, and then they try their best to pass them here if they've got the sort of jurisdiction to be able to do so. It's fucking annoying. I mean, it's like, I know that it goes without saying that we live in sort of occupied countries anyway, but it couldn't be any more blatant that our countries are occupied, you know? And this isn't even by like secret wee hats running about everywhere talking about we have people allegedly running our governments who are doing thy bidding for unelected bureaucrats across the fucking English Channel. It just should not be allowed. Should not be allowed, in all honesty. But by all means, you like the sound of a policy that they push, put it to the public or whatever. But don't just go, well, you know, they passed it, let's do it too, you know. What the fuck they do it?
Madness. Sansom?
Well, one of the worst things about this, and I think we covered it, if not last week or the week before, but certainly in the last couple of weeks or so, when they were talking about the plastic straws, the paper straws or the paper stroke cardboard straws that they use to replace them are not only far more toxic, they're also worse for the environment because of the toxicity in them. So you have a plastic straw, which is benign and yes, you know, doesn't rot away for like 500 years or whatever. But their replacement, their savior replacement, which was these cardboard stroke waxed paper or whatever ones were, when they get wet and soggy, the chemicals that are used to make them sort of waterproof are toxic and prolonged use can cause harm. And when they get into the water chain or whatever, so in other words, they end up in landfill because they biodegrade. Yeah, they biodegrade, but the chemical toxicity is even worse than, you know, the plastics themselves. What a win.
Yeah, like we've banned plastic straws. We've took the black person off Uncle Ben's rice. We have took the black woman off Aunt Jemima's, whatever that was, food stuff. Now we're banning plastic forks. How come we're not living in utopia yet?
Yeah, exactly.
There's none of it makes any fucking sense, and none of it doing any fucking good.
No, like Robinson's jam.
Oh fuck! Here, and while I'm at it, Marmalade. Have you heard this bullshit?
Robinson's jam.
Oh, well, Rob, you thought it was bad whenever I took the gollywog off Robinson's jam. And our next bit of madness, I don't have a link up for this, but trust me, people outside there, you're not going to be allowed to call it jam anymore. It's going to be, we're going to have...
Did they explain why?
Because in Europe, it's not called jam, it's called something marmalade, and that can't fly. So yeah, the jams are going to be called marmalade. They're coming for a jam as well.
Well, one thing I did notice, one of the things, I don't know, because like I say, I tend to shop these days, well, for things that I know that I can get anywhere, sort of thing. I tend to sort of restrict myself to the Aldi and Lidl, and I've noticed that they don't call any of their sort of breakfast spreads. I mean, they call marmalade, but they don't call jam. They call it conserve, which is probably a correct usage of the term. But I can't understand why. What's wrong with jam? What's wrong with jam? Come on, because I mean, I know Lidl and Aldi are sort of German companies, so you can understand why they may call their things conserve, which is, we always used to say, well, if you went to like if you're ever in a bed and breakfast in sort of the early 80s or whatever, and used to get these little individual pots of jam, and it would have conserve on, and it'd be like one of those instances where, what's the difference between jam and conserve? Well, about £5, you know what I mean? But what's the reasoning behind it, mate? Because I've never heard of any jam. What's wrong with jam?
I'm not sure how good this link is that I found on the fly. I read it off the European Union fucking directive from, on their legislation thing. But we'll see if this is Brexit blasts everything wrong with the EU. Right. Britain's jam makers are facing the prospect of expensive alterations to their recipes as a result of Brussels revising its so-called, yes, it's the breakfast directives related to ingredients. And one Brexit backing economist said the saga encapsulates everything is wrong with the EU. EU diplomats are currently discussing new rules related to jams, jellies, and marmalade, which dictate a number of fruit spreads sold across the bloc. Insiders have suggested the discussions are centered around an attempt to increase the fruit content of jam from 350 grams per kilogram to 450. Whenever I was reading the directive, it was saying about the naming of jam as well. It's going to be something else, something marmalade, because that's what they call it in Europe, and fuck us having our own stuff like. So there you go. There's that. It just you keep putting your shovel in the shit pit and thinking you're going to hit clay at some stage, but no, it's just below the shit. There's just more shit. So there you go. And I don't know how, whenever somebody is deemed to be lucky, a ball bounces off somebody's ass and it goes into the net and the score. I don't know that saying that was a marmalade goal is going to fly as a saying. It's totally mad. But there you go. It's what do you think?
Well, I think it's just complete and utter madness. And the reason why we left Brexit was to leave that kind of shit behind. The same kind of Brexit where if a banana was slightly too curved, you couldn't have it. If a carrot was slightly curved, you couldn't have it. If a cucumber was slightly curved, you couldn't have it. Well, fuck off. We're not part of your shit scheme anymore. And we're certainly not part of the bloc, BOLC, We're not part of that shit anymore. So fuck you. We'll call it jam and you'll fucking like it. And we'll leave the seeds in and they can get stuck in von der Leyen's dentures. So fuck you.
Oh, the bend of the banana, that was about the banana boxes. So somebody brought out banana boxes hard plastic thing shaped like a banana. You put your banana inside that, you close the lid, you throw it in your bag, it doesn't get all battered. And they realized that not all bananas were going to fit into the banana boxes because some of them were too curved. And their solution to that was, right, okay, we will regulate the shape of the bananas that we sell so it'll fit inside these boxes.
All right. So when you say stopping the banana from getting battered, you're on about Scottish bananas then, so battered banana, yeah?
Oh, no, that's a whole different thing. Not, no, the proper word would be, the proper term would be damaged in transporting your work bag.
Yes. Well, what about battered whiskey? Because they do that in Scotland now as well, don't they? You can get battered whiskey now. DJ knows all of these culinary expertise, these culinary delights. Battered pizza, battered haggis, which is, God's food. So
DJ,
why not?
No, believe it or not, the only thing I've ever had battered is either a battered fish or a battered sausage. I'm not one of these fucking guys just like, you know what, mate? Fucking, do you want to batter up my can of iron brew, eh? Like, no, mate. Like, no, I'm not one of them, man.
Yeah, I bet you've had a good battering though, haven't you?
That's not for me, like.
I mean, you're a big unit, DJ. Everyone can tell it from your photos, but I bet you've had a good battering in your time, haven't you?
I've been battered once, but it was by 3 boys. So is that you the same thing?
I'll tell you what, I've been battered as well many times, but I mine was with beef dripping, so I didn't mind it.
So I'm the only one here that's ever had a battered Mars bar.
No, I won't go near that.
I've had a battered haggis. I've had a battered haggis before. That was lovely. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Nice, but I'm all right. Yeah, I don't really want to be getting my insides fucking full of that sort of putrid.
I'll tell you now. There's a chippy just east of me on the Durham coastline in Seaham called Robinson's Fish Bar. Oh man, I tell you now, they could batter anything and it'd taste fantastic. What a fantastic chippy that is. I had a battered haggis from takeout from theirs. Lovely.
Fucking William, what the fuck? I've had a battered Cadbury's marble, you weird.
Anyway, Cadbury's what?
Mars. What's he say there? Cadbury's marble.
Well,
I don't know what that is, to be honest. Yeah. What's this guy talking about? They got just the bold. What you boys think of Grant Sharp's plans? This is probably where I start to show my ignorance, in all honesty, because I pay literally no interest or attention to what happens.
Is Grant Shapps the new defense secretary then?
Oh, is this to do with like sending fucking more money to Ukraine or something?
Probably, I don't know. We all know that they're all fucking idiots.
He's like a wee alien fucking look at like. I'll have a look now, unless somebody wants to clarify what he's talking about though.
Isn't old Grant Shapps?
He is, but...
Isn't he?
Fucking. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Eh?
I think he is. Anyway.
Jesus! All right.
What have you found?
British troops. Jesus. Okay. I'll share this. Like fucking.
Jesus is here. Is he battered as well?
Oh, it's my dad, mate.
Bloody hell. So you must be the second coming. You must have been the bit that ran down the leg then.
I'll knock you out of having me. You like.
Well,
present share screen. So this is like breaking news, seemingly 5 minutes ago from the fucking Guardian. Didn't even think somebody from the Guardian would be up at this time of night. You know, that'd be cool. Like.
Well,
British troops could deploy to Ukraine for the first time to train. All right, to train. So see, I didn't see the bottom of the headline. Like I just seen the top. I was like, well, this needs shield, but nonetheless, still, you're sort of poking the bear, as the expression goes, I suppose.
Well, there is a long history of the UK and America sending military advisors and trainers to war zones.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we will train you on how to work this artillery.
Mm. Nice. Cough, cough. Cough, cough.
Yeah. This does not look good. I can tell you what I do know. Ukraine is currently in the process of conscripting
The Ukrainians from Poland. I read that.
Every male that registered for university last year.
Fucking hell.
Because they said they only went into university to delay their deployment by 4 years. So they're all getting conscripted. They're repatriating Ukrainians from Poland and from Germany.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. It's almost like they're running out of soldiers.
It's almost as if they're determined to just make sure that Ukraine can never repopulate itself with fucking men. Yeah. I mean, at what point do you throw in the towel?
It looks like they are. It looks like they literally are going to fight to the last Ukrainian. And in the last break, and we're now starting to see the female soldiers moving closer to the front line.
Jesus. Where did that go? Just read this here. In an interview with the Sunday Telegraph, Shapps also disclosed that he talked to Zelensky about how the Navy could help to defend commercial vessels from Russian attacks in the Black Sea. After a briefing with General Sir Patrick Sanders, the Chief of the General Staff, and other senior personnel at Salisbury Plain, he said, I was talking today about eventually getting the training brought closer and actually into Ukraine as well, particularly in the west of the country. I think the opportunity now is to bring more things in country, not just training, but we're also seeing BAE, the UK defence firm, for example, moving into manufacturing. And then he says here, keen to see other British companies do their bit as well by doing the same thing. So I think there will be a move to get more training and production in the country.
The lead time on any equipment is going to be approximately 4 to 5 years.
So the Scottish don't get involved. Oh fucking hell! If they, to be honest, if they had the power, they would send all our men in. In a heartbeat, like all their fucking Ukraine flags in their bios and that.
Well, the problem is we currently have a standing army of around about 75,000 men.
Oh, I know. Like, but it's just the way that I've never seen. I mean, it's a bit bizarre. I don't think I can think to any point in history where like countries would wave the flag of like another country, like when they're at war. It's got like fuck all to do with you. It's weird. But like everywhere up here, there's so many Ukraine flags, and funnily enough, there's a correlation between their Ukraine flag and their political allegiance, and they tend to be SNP up here. Yeah, it's a very, very, very bizarre thing, in all honesty. But yeah, I think if they had the ability to, they would send us off in a fucking heartbeat. I can see it. To be honest, I wouldn't even rule that out in the future anyway. I mean, like, when they run out of Ukrainians, then what? Right, boys? Bits on the ground time, maybe that is the grand plan, to wipe out Whitey once and for all. Who fucking knows? I mean, I can't, but I'll tell you the only reason I say something like that, I just can't get my head around the idea that they're fighting to the last Ukrainian when they know that they're fucked. There's got to be something more to it later on down the line. Like, whatever develops when that outcome comes to pass, I think the argument could be made that that was what they'd always intended in the first place, whatever it is. Till such a time, we're just merely speculating.
Well, you see, there are some long way in that's for 40 months. There are some problems in that the people who were in charge of Ukraine whenever this all came in, whenever they get replaced by someone else, somebody's going to have a really close look at what happened to all the money. And they cannot have someone look at what happened to all the money because a lot of it went missing. A lot of the equipment went missing. And they're quite happy to have other people's sons die in order to stop that forensic examination happening.
Fair estimate. Not estimate, sorry, fucking fair hypothesis, I suppose. Well, I'm of the firm belief anyway that like the vast majority, if not every government, is controlled to some degree anyway. So I'm pretty sure they would be able to determine who steps in to replace Zelensky at a later date. Without having it, so they could prevent any investigations and whatnot. I don't know. I do firmly believe, just on a side note, that the entirety of this war from start to finish has been about exacerbating all the nonsense that they classify as crises, cost of living crisis, food scarcity crisis, etc., etc., etc. It's all it's really been about, as far as I'm concerned. I think the deaths in Ukraine and the war itself are more or less just byproducts of a much larger agenda, which is the green bullshit that's been really accelerating in the last few years. But again, still poses the question at the end of it all, what happens with Ukraine?
Well, it's very strange that nobody's kicking up about single-use artillery shells. Single-use plastic forks, bad. Single-use artillery shells, just what we need.
All's fair in love and warfare, mate. Come on, man. You know that. I know, fair point. So no.
It's absolute madness. The other thing is,
I mean, realistically, you should have fuck all to do as that. If this was an above board and legitimately normal world, our government would be taking no part in this. Like, it's got fuck all to do us. But yet, we're all up to our necks in it because we're effectively fighting a proxy war, which is really no different to ISIS and whatnot from back in the day. Yeah.
Well, if you look at whenever the Berlin Wall came down, there was a deal done with Russia that NATO would not expand 1 inch to the east. And if you look at the map of where NATO was then and where it is now, they have moved NATO right on the Russia's border, and they're standing there saying, Russia, look how close you've put your country to our bases.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong, I'm with you on that. Like, from that point of view, it's pretty obvious that one side's the aggressor in all this and the other's not. But I just think that some of the reasons I've stated in other streams, and I'm not going to rant about it because I've fucking said it before anyway, but like the stuff about sanctions, which done nothing but be used as an excuse to shaft us because it did nothing to Russia. And then he was still selling Europe all their energy and whatnot. I just didn't get any of that stuff. I feel fundamentally that he's equally as complicit to some degree in a much larger fucking plan, really. And the proof's in the pudding, in all honesty, because just type in on Google, didn't need a deep dive, type in Russia sustainable developments. And where do you find the exact same waffle that's been implemented all across all our countries? So he's no different. The only difference is he says mean things about gay people. Really.
I was watching a video the other day of a guy that I don't know if he's still in Lotus, but he was in Lotus. The channel name's Britannia, I think. But he went to Kosovo and Moscow, like basically for a holiday and a look around. It turns out that seeing all those Western countries, see your gas for your heating and cooking and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
There's no meter with it.
A meter?
No meter, right? In Moscow, your gas for your heating and your cooking works out at around about $5 a month, or $5 a week.
Fuck.
Right. Okay. Now, get this. There's no fucking meter. You know the way you and I have an electric meter and a gas meter and all that sort of stuff? No, you're just connected to it.
Why does that not surprise me to hear that?
Right. Now, well, and to be fair, because those countries are that cold, it probably does work out cheaper for them to have heating running all the time than to fix all the frozen pipes. For water and all that. But
I also say though, it's their energy. Like we've
Yes.
got our own energy, but yet we still pay through the fucking nose and we still import it. I've never understood that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not the greatest when it comes to economics and that, but I've never understood that. We have all our own oil on our own doorstep. We have the ability to get our own gas on our own doorstep, and if we do it, we sell it, and most of the time we don't do it, and we seem to pay extortionate prices and import it when we shouldn't have to. I've never got that. Never understood it. Then you look at like Dubai and whatnot, countries that found oil and lo and behold, now they're fucking living high in the hog. And then there's us. Can't even afford to fucking fill your car up. You know what I mean?
Well, here's a question. See if you were up Sansom's neck of the wood where they have coal on the ground. See if you built yourself a coal mine and dug that coal out of the ground and put that into a coal-fired, clean scrubbed electricity generating plant in the same area and sold that electricity to the people in that area. And obviously you let the coal mine the coal mine make a modest profit. You let the electricity people make a modest profit, but you don't fucking rip the ass out of it, and you do that. How cheap would the electric be? Very.
Yeah. How cool? I don't know. Probably cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be because how it currently works is oil, coal, electricity are set on a world price. Pretty much. And whenever you're doing things on a world price, how much you pay for a gallon. Well, the other thing is, the vast majority. See, whenever you go and put petrol or diesel on your car, most of what you're paying is tax to the government.
Oh, I know that.
The petrol station's making a penny a litre. The oil people are making a shitload of money, but it's not because they're making a high margin on it. It's because of the massive volume, and the majority of it's going to the government. We've had an increase in how much the tax is because they've put another fucking green tax on
that. Tax after tax after tax, isn't it?
Yep. It's
like one of the most taxed countries in the world.
Yep. Oh, and it's going up because apparently they're going to get the tax up to 40% of whatever's made, and that's the highest it's been since since World War II and just after. It's almost like we're having the same outlay as we had during World War II because we're funding the war.
And the laugh of it is, though, they blame Putin. Putin to stop its war crimes, but they're going so far. Like everything's the fault of Putin now. So food scarcity is another one I don't understand. Scotland, even Scotland, England as well, but Scotland, the vast majority of Scotland is there's parts of it that are obviously uninhabitable, don't get me wrong, but there's large parts of Scotland that are just green, like hills and whatnot. Plant fucking food. Like, why do we need to be importing potatoes from Israel or grain from Ukraine? Why do we need to do that? Why can't we have our own food here? Doesn't make sense to me, but that's another thing they're blaming. But I know why. Like, it's rhetorical. Obviously, if you make every country dependent on one another, then it sort of makes you not so dependent on yourself. You're not independent. But my point is, though, they're blaming the war in Ukraine on that. Like, food scarcity is coming. There might be food scarcity. So it's Putin's fault, Fucking. Then you've obviously got the petrol prices is another one, and diesel. That's the war in Ukraine and the cost of Tory crisis, as the S&P call it, which I really find repulsive. But absolutely everything that's going on, like stagnant wages, but yeah, everything's going up in the shops at the moment. Oh, it's the war in Ukraine. Is it? It's the war in Ukraine. That's what it fucking is. Yeah, okay. It's got nothing to do with printing money during COVID, and it's got nothing to do with deliberately turning the screws so you can wave your little green alternative later on down the line. We can recover from this and have a better, fairer, more equal world. Not like they've been saying this since 2020, you know?
Oh,
they're tightening the screws until people beg for a fucking alternative.
Since you mentioned potatoes, I have a question for you. You being a Highlander, you have heard of the historic Irish potato blight, haven't you?
The Scottish potato famine, I know.
Right. Yes, right. But
you're going to ask me about it.
Right. Yes. You know the Irish potato blight, the singing the song with Phil Jaffrey about it, the rugby and all. Had you heard of the Highland potato blight that happened concurrently?
Sorry, what? Say that last part again.
Had you heard that there was a Highland potato blight that was concurrent with the Irish potato blight?
Yeah. No, I genuinely did know that. Yeah.
Right. Because I knew that there was a blight. I knew that there was a time whenever the Scottish potatoes that went had been blighted.
Do you know, there's a theory behind that, though, and it's sort of a theory that, because there was a documentary I watched on the Scottish Highlands years ago where I first heard about the potato farming in Scotland as well. But in the comments of that documentary, there was a few people talking about it and ended up watching videos on this theory. Some people have made the argument that it was manufactured in order to sort of get people off the land, because that's what happened, isn't it? People had to fuck off from Scotland, and people had to fuck off, or that part anyway, of Scotland, and people had to leave that part of Ireland.
Oh, well, here's the thing.
The chance of your tatties all just going to fuck, like, you know.
Oh, well, here's the
thing. I know
thing.
it happened, don't get me wrong, but that's what the theory was proposed.
Yeah, but it also happened in Prussia, Belgium, France, Denmark, right? Western Europe, Eastern, some parts of Eastern Europe and pretty much all of Western Europe had once you look up European potato blight, you find out that the tatties were fucked everywhere.
Well, see, if I'd bothered to do 5 minutes more of looking into that theory, then I would have debunked it myself.
Yeah. No, I ended up going back into all that properly because there's been a big fucking kick up about the Ireland fans singing zombies after the Rugby World Cup match. And I ended up, I wrote a blog post about it, which goes live tomorrow. And my big takeaway is that Zombies is not the Ireland rugby fans anthem. That would actually be the Fields of Athenry that they sing all the fucking time, because heaven forbid anybody forget that at one time in history Ireland had bad tatties.
Yeah. I've never understood why they always speak about the Irish fucking potato farmer, but like never the Scottish one. I don't understand that really.
Well, if they start talking about the Scottish one that happened at the same time, and also the rest of Europe, then they can't just blame the English for it or the British.
That's very true. That said, though, they're still flying away. Oh, well, it was the Empire.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the Empire. You never know. I think it was before the Empire, too. So,
1840s or something.
Well, could have been the beginnings of the Empire, like, you know, some evil fucking Saxons running about in their blue coats disguised so they can't see the red. Never know. Okay, pissing on the tatties, get the Europeans to F. You never know. In here, to be fair, It is a sort of British thing to do, that, is it not? In warfare, starving out their opponents, blocking transportation routes and whatnot. They don't need to go in and shoot everybody up. Just make sure they can't get any access to food and whatnot. And hey, presto, job done. So, yep, there we go. Theory concluded. You fucking English people. You fucked up my ties.
To be fair, sieges were common in warfare everywhere.
No. We were civilized people, but the Saxons came along and they butchered my tatties, and I've had enough. I'm just so sick of it. I'm going to have to go and put a Ukraine flag on my bio now and say that I hate English people, but refugees are welcome. And then I'll fit.
Yeah, but DJ, the only thing I would say is, though, what you lacked in potatoes, you made up for in cherries, because you got plenty of bites of those, didn't you?
Oh, here we go. Fucking bringing up that Italian faggot. I don't even know why I keep doing this, because I fucking like him. I never did. So fuck off. You go back and listen to those two excerpts from those back and forths we had, and you'll quite clearly see that you had deliberately picked me up on me misspeaking, and you've never let me fucking hear the end of it, as if I am, bereft of any historical knowledge, as if I didn't learn that shit in school. I just misspoke. But you just wanted an excuse to then spend a good 10 minutes of the next stream with your fucking presentation talking about all these different Tudors and Stuarts, etc., as if I didn't know. Fuck's sake, sense. Come on, man. But it's all good, because I don't give a shit. Anyway, dickhead, we've got more in common than any so-called Scottish nationalist and we have in common. So, you should just fucking bump your gums, eh?
Well, yes, I do have Macbeth and MacDonald blood coursing through my veins, as we all know, because I am distinctly more Highlander than you, DJ. We all know that. But
yeah, that's probably actually true, because my my fucking surname originates from the Pictish Heartlands. I will have you know, which is aye. Yeah. Well, that said, they were all.
Was that Sunak? Is that Sunak?
Yeah? Nah, it's MacYusuf, mate.
Oh, right, okay.
Do you know that there's a thing where they're studying the genomes from the Picts?
The guy in my chat that's fucking really clued up and all that stuff, but. Like, I know, I think we spoke about this before, that they said initially it was like 1 in 10 Monday Scots could probably trace their ancestry back to the Picts. But from what this guy has been saying to me in my chat, I haven't spoken about it in a while, in all honesty, but a lot more than that. Like the start of the theory that started growing arms and legs now, apparently anyway, is that the majority of Scots are actually the Picts. We're called Scots. Which actually, if you think of it, would make more sense. As if they just disappeared overnight. Like,
those
Scots came from Ireland, and the Picts were in fucking Pickland. Hence the term Scotia. Like Scotia and the Picts, and they formed. They merged together, Albaland, to fend off Vikings. It makes more sense. That's not me going, I am a Pict and shit. I'm just saying the theory is there's a lot more people out there that apparently, anyway, share the same sort of genes. Is what they theorised the Picts did.
Well, there's Pictish genomes right across Ireland.
Yeah.
Mainly currently in Ulster, but right down as far as Kells.
It would make more sense, Ulster, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Scotia. That's what I've always thought about. The Scotia came from Ireland. Picts were in fucking Pickland. It wasn't called Pickland. It was about him.
Scotia came from Ulster with Fergus, the King of Ulster. The son of the King of Ulster, and the Stone of Scone. That's where he's got. That was a stone that Ulster kings were crowned on, and then it went to over there with Scotia, and now it's back in its rightful place in Edinburgh.
See that? Man knows his fucking stuff. Unlike you, Sensen.
All I know is that you lot fucked it all up. I mean, we had a proper monarchy, and you fucked it all up. You had 2 bites of the cherry, and you fucked it up twice. You fucked.
Do you know what, mate? If I had a fucking third chance to do it all again, I would. Fuck your monarchy, like.
Well, you had that.
I don't give a shit. Like, nah, fuck the monarchy there. Well, no, fuck off. I'm not getting into this. Just fuck them. Oh well, I'll post. I put it in the chat the other week. Like Prince Charles sitting in France, the inbred cunt, talking about.
But he's German.
What's he doing? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's German.
Political. What's he doing?
You know, the hell of it is that this is the thing.
The hell of it is they can get the fuck a whole lot of them.
Well,
the only one I like was the Queen, and she's fucking gone there, so the rest of them can get fucked there.
Well, Charles was German. Well, they're all German, aren't they? You know,
no, they're not.
The Habsburgs, you know, they
with every generation, they're less German than the last.
You know, but having said that, you know, Charles I, and then James II.
Oh, here he goes. Yeah,
they were both British people. You know, yeah, they were Scottish, but they were British people.
Oh, so with Tony Blair and Gordon Brown.
And then what happened? Right, you threw it all away.
Nicola Sturgeon was England. Look what she did there. So fuck you.
Let Cromwell have his fucking band Christmas little escapade, and then we get Charles II in, and you know, he comes back and he holds council, but he doesn't have any legitimate progeny, although he did have.
Can I just butt in there for 2 seconds? William doesn't know what I'm talking about. Nicola Sturgeon's family are English.
Well, of course they are.
She's got a Scottish accent. She's actually English. Like, she's born in Scotland, but like her family, Sturgeon's not even a Scottish name. It's fucking English.
And then, you know, Charles dies and hands it over to James II, and then
mate, we've done this before.
And then Holland, you know. And then after Holland, you know, we have to go scraping around the fucking rest of Europe to get fuckers who can't even speak English. Does it sound familiar? Does it look like the head of state, like, you know, the head of the parliaments now? I mean, yeah, they can just about string about words of English, but they're not English, are they? All these fuckers, you know. Same in Scotland. And it's all your fucking fault. You fucking started it.
No.
Yes, you did. Don't give me that. We give you everything.
We give you everything. Fuck royally off. Now it's time. Fuck off. You know what I mean?
Everything.
Look at that fucking Indian man that you've got in your government now. What's he going to do? We'll open up a new oil field. Not fucking water, you dick. You know what I mean?
No. It's not your water because you haven't got independence yet. But Hum's is going to make sure. Hum's is going to make sure.
I see.
Hum's is going to make sure that oil field, if he gets independence, is sole property of the European Union. How'd you like those tomatoes?
Well, you know,
or cherries, should I say?
You know, we'll both be back where we fucking started. And you know what, Sense? It'll be your fault for telling people to vote Labour.
No, well, yeah,
I will be actually.
I'm voting fucking Labour.
Watch the space chat. How many times
I'm voting Labour? You know, fuck you.
As long as the Tories die, vote Labour. Well, watch this space, folks, because when you vote in Labour and they drag us back into the EU, you can blame Mr. Tinfoil Communism.
Yeah, well, it's almost like you're in the EU anyway with all the fucking. Yeah,
but I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I'll shut you the fuck up, didn't I? Fucking dickhead.
I'm voting Labour. I am.
I bet you have to.
Fucking. I'll tell you what, right? I've said this now, and I'm unapologetic. You know, doesn't matter if you're a part Scot or not, or as I'm full Scot, as you can tell. You know, the next time around, my hatred of the Tory party and my want for them to be so destroyed that they can never, ever come back again in any shape or form.
To be honest, mate, that won't matter when we're back in the EU. Like, legit.
No.
I know that we're practically still in it anyway, but none of that shit will matter when we're properly back in it, where they can just, like, unveil their power levels that we never left. Like, you know, what the fuck difference does that make?
At
least the Tories are dead. You know what I mean? At least the Tories ain't coming back. You know?
Unfortunately, it appears as though the Dark Lord himself, Tony Blair, has influence across both the Tory and the Labour Party. So we fucked on
Well,
many
I
counts. But if we can kill one of them, if we can destroy one of the
on
fuckers,
behalf of Scotland's for breeding Tony Blair. That is
he's Scottish, isn't he, old phony?
Scottish.
Okay, do you want to know how to fuck the whole system? Right. Here's what you do.
Party.
No, you get everybody that currently doesn't vote, everybody that's currently unregistered for vote, get them registered, get them down the voting station, and vote Monster Raven Rooney. And everybody that currently doesn't vote and play that game, then that would that's enough votes to put the Monster Raven Rooney in power. And then it'll show that you want to find out what type of sham we're living in. That's how you do it. Put those fuckwits in there and see what happens.
In a hypothetical, it would be interesting to do something like that, or even if everybody went in and like spoiled their ballots, you know.
Don't do that.
No, I know, but like we're talking in hypotheticals, the chances of these things ever occurring is pretty much non-existent, you know. As the years go on, less and less people fucking bother voting anyway, statistically speaking. But I know it's different where you live, but here it's not great. Like
the spoil your ballot thing, that's been tried and tested.
No, but I'm meaning more. It'd be interesting to see if everybody fucking spoiled their ballot, just to see how they would react in terms of would they pretend that somebody won when we all know that they didn't, or what? You know, be interesting to see how that would work. But
that was done in the Serbian part of Kosovo, which used to be ran by the Serbian people, and it was the elections were done by Serbia, and Kosovo says no, we're on these elections, and they done that last year, and 96% of the population spoiled their ballots. The other 4% did not.
Yeah,
and the people at the other 4% were put into power. And whenever the Serbs lived in that bit of Kosovo went to try to get them put out, the United Nations peacekeepers stopped them.
That's mad. Right.
So, see, anybody thinks that you can spoil ballots or do something like that, and it'll take down the whole system. It won't. It just makes it really easy for the people you don't like to get their people in the power.
Yeah, I'm more with the people in the chat that said just don't bother playing, but that's just me personally. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, as I said earlier, I'm pretty sure like the voting turnout where you live, so it's a lot better than it is here. Like,
vote Labour.
That's just fucking gay. I'll never vote Labour. Well, you know, I'd rather just not bother voting. To be honest,
a low turnout where I live is above. A low turnout would be like 60%. I mean, if it's below 65%, that's a low turnout.
Don't know what the stats are for Scotland, but I know they're not like ideal. Well, for people that want votes anyway, that's for sure.
Well, we this is the second bit. We have enough votes. People like you and I, you and me, and some people in the chat, collectivized together, we've got enough votes to put independent people, independent parties, like the guys that are in the chat, National Housing Party UK. We have got, whenever you add together the people that currently don't vote that think like us, and the people that are currently not on the register, we could put them in the power. And that's where you do get change.
In fact, again, but then you ran into the issue of constituency. Like fucking the only party near me that I would ever hand a vote to would be John Davison's party. He's in fucking like Paisley or something. Like I can't vote. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if it's based on constituencies, it has to be people in and around your area. So then you run into the other barrier of trying to find enough people in your local area, and that's where the issue is, unless you live in a big city.
Yeah. Well, This is even an issue in big cities because what these parties are going to have to do is start off by winning council seats. Then
that is the way to go, to be fair.
Right, they're going to have to start off by winning council seats. Then they're going to have to go for parliamentary seats, which are more expensive, but they're going to have to build up their voting base via council seats, and they're going to have to do that constituency by constituency. And that's not a short or easy process.
No, it's not an easy one, that's for sure.
No.
But as I've said before, more power to people if they wish to pursue that route. But I just personally feel that it's a sort of damp squib, as they say. But I just thought I would throw this up because I don't know if anybody watched the stream that I did with Toffee and No Chance last Monday or something. I was speaking about this exact issue, and then you fast forward literally several days, and what do you find? The Scottish government talking about exactly what my stream was talking about, aka advocating for people to come here and have children on our behalf. It's fucking egregious, really. But they are so hell-bent on getting control of immigration. I said damp squib, not squid. They're so hell-bent on getting control of immigration. And there's just a crippling irony about the SNP in many respects. That the only thing that is saving us, sort of, from complete and utter annihilation is Westminster. That's the irony of the SNP's existence. But yeah, I'll play this little fucker here. It's only like 2 minutes.
Single answer, but with less than one birth for every 2 deaths in my constituency, there is no solution which does not involve bringing more people to live and work in the islands. To illustrate the scale of the challenge, the Outer Hebrides Community Planning Partnership identified the need for inward migration of 1,000 working age and childbearing families to keep the island's workforce anything like sustainable. Presiding officer, in such a situation, we should not shy away from using every available avenue. Immigration has the power to keep public services, industries and communities sustainable. I can think of local businesses which successfully attracted workers from Eastern Europe. They put down roots and their children in many cases have grown up speaking 3 languages. But since Brexit, the UK government's approach to immigration is simply not working for Scotland and certainly not for rural Scotland. We know from the Migration Advisory Committee that rates of international inward migration to islands and remote rural areas are less than 1/5 of what they are to our larger cities. A bespoke rural visa scheme to encourage inward migration to these areas is something that communities themselves are crying out for, and we know that this works successfully in other countries, such as in Canada's Atlantic Immigration Programme. The proposal has been endorsed by Scotland's local authorities, business groups and this Parliament. It is a proposal I remember putting to the UK government when I was Europe Minister. If the UK government had any appreciation of Scotland's distinctive demographic needs at that time, then they did a good job of being undemonstrative about it.
Oh, just does my nut and ass. There's another one here that's a minute long. I'll play after you said we want to say. Like,
see, I'm pretty sure there's a shitload of people in Canada that are of Scots descent that are getting quite pissed off with the way Canada's being run.
And in America as well.
Right, yeah. Are they going to go after those people and invite them to come back?
You see, it's funny you mentioned that because I brought it up on the stream that I did, the one I mentioned there. And at the big halfway through the year, one of the SNPs, Angus Robertson, he came out, and I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I had to go through my phone to find it at the time on the stream. But they announced some project that they were unveiling, which effectively, to paraphrase, sort of came down to, on paper anyway, they were going to be reaching out to the diaspora, the Scottish diaspora. and they were going to be, trying to create ties between the countries in which there's a large population of diaspora, and they were going to put some program into place to see if they wish to come back and whatnot. And it was something, there was even references to ancestry, etc. I was like, fucking wow. That's you're by doing so, you're obviously admitting or conceding even that there's a Scottish people, but then what did they do? I think I played the video on one of these streams maybe 2-3 months ago. They've come out and they're trying to redefine diaspora now. So they want diaspora to be inclusive now. So it's effectively anybody that's ever lived here, anybody that lives here currently, or anybody that wishes to live here. Like they're all Scottish as you, and they're all effectively diaspora. So a plan that initially started in regards to attracting, and this is their claims, their estimation, around about 40 million people out there in the world that don't live in the UK claim Scottish ancestry or have some form of link to Scotland, right? Oh, no, fuck them. We're on about the BAMEs. Anybody can be Scottish now, or the Germans, or whatever. That's not really the point. How can you redefine diaspora? Well, it goes back to what I just said. In order to acknowledge the Scottish diaspora, or any diaspora for that matter, you have to concede that there is a people, a distinct people. Because if there is no distinct people, how can there be an extension of said people, aka a diaspora? So that's why they're going after it. So not only are they attacking our national identity and what makes us who we are, and severing our genetic makeup and whatnot, or we're all immigrants, blah, 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 they're also going after the diaspora in terms of the definition to try to redefine it. It's just it's just never ended, eh? It's actually never ending. And then all you get in our parliament is fucking lesbians talking about, oh, we need people come here and have children on our behalf, and then they never ever seem to speak about the demography, what issues and impacts that could have on our demography, never speak about the long-term ramifications, never in fact actually ask the people via, a referendum or anything of the sort. No, it's just, there might very well be other solutions out there, or we could shrink the economy, we could adapt, or we could try and put incentives into place. We're not going to do any of that. We're just going to import black people from Africa because they're coming over in boats every day anyway. So what's the fucking difference? That's more or less the moral of their story.
Oh, on the subject of the boats, I got a question.
What happened there?
Right, now, so we have people in small boats that rock up on the English coast, or more normally get picked up by the RLNI before they get that far. Now, see the person driving the boat? Is that not the people trafficker? And how many of those have been arrested?
You think, yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure whenever you pay for your people trafficking, they don't expect you to drive the boat.
I think, in fairness, I think that they are driving them themselves, purely because they're not really doing anything in regards to driving it. They just set out.
No, but somebody gets the boat, right, and brings it to wherever it is, and then we all pile into it. I'm telling you, the people actually at the rudder and at the controls are the people that's sending them over, and then they go back and drive another one over.
I've thought about this, but in fact, I'm pretty sure I've said this on stream as well before. None of it makes any sense. You're meaning to tell me that these fucking smugglers managed to sneak past all the authorities and get a big boat out of their massive warehouse full of big boats and sneak past the authorities, then dump said big boat on the beach, get all the money off all these people that have also managed to sneak past authorities, then disappear into the sunset and wait for the next morning to do the same thing again, where they go to their warehouse full of big boats and take a big boat out. It's just nonsense. I'm pretty convinced that the reality here is it's the French authorities working with the British authorities, and they're using NGOs as a sort of means to get them from one part to the other in terms of rescue missions. If you think back to the timeline, it really started to kick up a notch when they dismantled the Kali jungle. So it's almost as if the British have decided to take them off French hands purely because they were headed for Britain anyway. That's what I think anyway. But the reality is, what was they always say that it's a smuggling operation well, if it's a smuggling operation, the one way that you could stop this tomorrow is to stop letting them here, because nobody's going to part with their cash. You know, they allegedly pay all this cash to the smugglers. Nobody's going to part with their money if there's a high probability they're going to be punted right back to where they started with. Like, it wouldn't happen.
Nobody's going to drive the boat over if they reckon that whoever it is that's sailing the boat in for 30 years.
Yeah, exactly. Something even like that. But no.
Yeah, do you know what? I don't even care if the person that's driving the boat is an organised people trafficker or not. You go, right, you're the person that's driving it, the same way you would with a lorry, same way you would with a car. You're driving this boat, you're sailing this boat, you're in charge of it, you're away for 30 years. And you say to the and do you know what? Somebody's not taking the next one over.
Hey, we'd stop pretty quickly, huh? Yeah, we'd stop very, very quickly. All these empty, stupid threats that we've heard over the years, whether it be Sajid Javid or Priti Patel or the new one, I can't remember her name. It's just rhetoric. And what annoys me is all it takes is for that rhetoric to be said to sort of transcend all up and down the country and be used as a battering ram by lefty politicians and lefty dickheads. Like, all I ever hear up here in Scotland is, oh, the Tories are so racist, oh, the hostile environment. What are you on about, a hostile environment? They're pouring in the border every day, and they're coming in legally every day. Just because they ain't up here doesn't mean they ain't pouring in. But it's funny how that rhetoric that the lefties exploit for their own political gain doesn't permeate across the channel and make the Africans go, oh, well, we better not go over there because they make a hostile environment. No, it doesn't happen. It doesn't fucking happen, does it? Because they know damn well what's coming their way. They get escorted by the French authorities, then they enter British waters, then one of two things happens. They either get found or spotted, quote-unquote, air quotes, conveniently spotted, by one of our coast guards, or an NGO finds them. But one of the two, rest assured, they'll be taken back here, while somebody will wipe their arse and give them a fucking pot noodle while they get found at a hotel that's nearby. Great. It's just nonsense. That's why they're all partying with their cash, yeah. Yeah, that is exactly what. Of course, you got. Oh, I say they're parting with their cash. I don't believe that narrative, in all honesty. But let's just say they were parting with their cash, their hard-earned cash, living in the slums of fucking Africa, and they've traversed the continent to get right here. This is the last trip for them. Of course, you're going to part with your cash when you know damn well that you're going to be taken to a hotel and fed, and there's no chance of you being booted back because you can cry racism or get a human rights lawyer at the taxpayer's expense. It's not going to happen, mate. So on you go, mate. I mean, come on. All the incentives are there, and that's the irony of all these people that whine about the deadly crossings. They themselves are incentivizing them with their fucking warm, fluffy rhetoric. Stop encouraging them. It's pretty simple.
Do you know how Hungary gets round all the legal issues with kicking the migrants out?
Do they not use the grounds of Christianity?
No. Oh, it's fucking genius. Their border fences is 500 yards inside Hungary.
Huh.
Right. So they dump them out into Hungary, the other side of the fence. And it's not the Hungarians' fault that they willingly make their way back to the country that just came from.
I like that. You know, like, I do, there's a little lesser known fact about your man that I do actually like. And I remember making a video on it at the time. I think it was maybe 2018, 2019. He attended, I'm pretty sure he hosted it. And it was a few people there. Tony Abbott, the old Australian Prime Minister, was there. Orban was there. And I think it was either the Serbian Prime Minister or there was a country from that part. Anyway, they were like the three main speakers, but it was a demography conference. You know, and I remember making a video because the Guardian were talking about it at the time. Calling like what they were saying was a far-right conspiracy. Like, oh yeah, really. But like the guy actually attended a demography conference. Now you will never hear that up here. Oh no, well, like, it's quite the opposite here, in fact. You know, so I do admire that fact. He's a bit sketchy on the COVID jab stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, but fucking, I do think that if any politician was ever to obtain my respect in any capacity, albeit limited until I know that they're just not saying the right things to appease me, it would be to speak about demography in all honesty, because I think that's fundamentally something that's deliberately glossed over in every respect. Even your like simpy fucking Civnat types never really speak about demography because, oh, well, they're coming over here illegal, doesn't matter, man. Really? And then the white nationalist types, they kind of annoy me as well because it doesn't matter who comes in as long as they're white. Well, it kind of does fucking matter, to be honest, because I don't want my country full of Bulgarians. Same way I would expect Bulgaria to be full of Scots, you know. So it's like I just think demography is something that's been deliberately ignored from all quarters, and I don't even think people are doing it maliciously in some respects. I just think that they're fucking falling for, you know, what's going on, really.
The issue I have with people saying they're white, let them come in, or just are saying, right, we need all the white people. See, every time I see climate protesters, people protesting for open borders, people wanting more immigrants, all that shit, right?
Yeah.
They're all fucking white.
Oh, yeah, no.
you know, it's...
One of our biggest enemies is a good chunk of our own that are fucking just completely corrupt, brain fart.
Yeah,
like that's one of our biggest issues is our own, ironically enough. But nah, even things as trivial as the census, like even the other day, for a wee example, I had to speak to some woman on the phone about a card I've got to do for work, some construction site card. Like, she started asking me these questions at the end. She's like, how do you identify? She says to me, are you white British? Are you white Scottish? Or are you just Scottish or British? Says, what do you mean white Scottish? Like, I'm Scottish. Like, I'm ethnically Scottish. You know? I fucking... Like, that just annoys me. This in the census, and it's white Scottish. No, you're not. Like, I know I had this argument with that Sir Albert. You're not white Scottish or you're like white English. You're fucking English. Like, there's no black English people. There's no yellow English people. There's no beige English people. You're English. You don't need to say you're white English. It just goes without saying. We know that we're white. Look at each other. We know we're white. Yeah. I don't like that. Purely because if you say you're white Scottish, that's why I've got people like Hamza Yusuf saying, oh, Pakistani Scottish. But you know you're fucking not, mate. You're not. Fuck off. It just annoys me, that.
I'm pretty sure I wrote in Indigenous British on my census form.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can get away with that in fucking Scotland, like.
No, well,
the hate crime bill coming in, boy. Huh?
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. I never. I figure whatever list they're going to put me on for that was probably on it already anyway.
All right. Fair. Let me see what else we got.
Talking about all that,
fucking...
we'll have another news story which is slightly related. I'm going to bring this up.
Man.
White woman.
Then I want to show you a video. Sorry, just I've got a video as well here, and probably the most grotesque excuse I've ever heard to try and justify fucking implementing LGBT education in Scotland. So that's coming up, folks. Enjoy.
Excellent.
Stenton had this on at the end of the stream.
21-year-old Brooke Burke Johnson was crowned Miss Universe Zimbabwe, which means she will represent the African nation at the next Miss Universe pageant. Held for the first time in 22 years this past week, Miss Universe Zimbabwe beauty contest sparked racial controversy in the African country, with many claiming that the winner is not an accurate representation of Zimbabwe's general population. Born and raised here, in Harare, Zimbabwe's capital city, Brooke Burke Johnson is also white, which for many is apparently the problem. Her crowning as Miss Universe Zimbabwe ignited a fiery debate on social media, with vocal critics arguing that her title is tainted by racial bias and that she only won because she was white. Have you seen the colour of Miss England, Miss Ireland?
Just on the grounds of consistency, though, I can see why they're pissed off about it. Like, I mean, Miss Scotland for the time being still white, but I'd be pissed off if I gave that much of a shit. I mean, I think it'd be a bit rich for us to be pissed off about it here and no expect them to be pissed off about it over there.
No, but the thing about it is, whenever we say we're pissed off about it, we're apparently racists.
Oh yeah, well, we are colonizers after all, mate. You know, we have to accept that. That's really the way it boils down to, in all honesty. When you look at how they define race and all this shit.
Yes.
Revenge, isn't it?
They have done a very good job in changing the fucking dictionary.
Hi. Well, like I said at the end of Censor's stream, I think a good way to sort of troll these people would be to go around the internet and find all the negative comments about that white girl winning that, and then just copy and paste the comments, take the white and the black out and swap it about, and then complain about your Miss Ireland or your Miss Wales, etc. Then when people latch on and go, "Oh my God, you're so racist," that's when you just provide them with Exhibit A and you showcase exactly where you took this from, and watch how their demeanor changes instantly. All of a sudden, you're no longer racist, and they're justified, but you're still racist. You know, that's how it works.
Yep. Right. DJ, did you put something else on there?
Fucking this ginger fucker. But honestly, I have never heard a more retarded reason to sort of strengthen your argument to ensure that our new curriculum is LGBTQ friendly. Now, just a bit of brief backstory. I think it was about 2-3 weeks ago, they published their draft paper for like the new RSHP curriculum in Scotland, which is our sex education. You know, the shit where they're learning about anal and cocks when they're like 5. Oh yeah, well, it's like new and improved now, so it's modernized ever so slightly. And then we have ginger pubes starting our parliament talking about why it's a long time coming. And yeah, I think I'll just let him speak for himself. In all honesty, fucking nonsense. I swear to God. Like allegedly, Ross, mate, don't sue me. But you're a bit weird, mate. It has to be said.
Asked the Scottish Government how it ensured that the views and experiences of young people, in particular LGBTQ young people, were reflected in the new draft guidance, delivery of relationships, sexual health and parenthood education in Scottish schools.
Cabinet Secretary.
The views and experiences expressed by children and young people through the Young Scot and Scottish Youth Parliament reports on personal and social education have informed the work to develop the revised draft statutory RSHP teaching guidance. The draft guidance was influenced by the work of the LGBTI Inclusive Education Working Group, as well as a wider range of other stakeholders. The Scottish Government is currently consulting publicly on the revised draft guidance. This includes specific engagement to gather views of young people on whether the revised teaching guidance meets their learning needs. Officials will take into account this activity in developing the final version of the teaching guidance, which is due to be published in the new year.
Are you ready for this?
Yep.
I genuinely have not heard something more fucking weird in a long time. Here it goes.
Ross Greer.
I'm grateful to the Cabinet Secretary for that answer. I was on the Education Committee when we received evidence from queer young people in particular who told us that they resorted to watching porn to learn about sex because the education they received in school was so poor and not remotely LGBTQ inclusive. The new draft Relationship, Sexual Health and Parenthood guidance is a vast improvement on its 2014 predecessor on both LGBTQ inclusion and on key themes such as consent. That's to the credit of young people in groups like the Youth Parliament and TIE campaign. LGBTQ young people were key to producing this draft, and having their confidence will be key to its successful delivery. So can I ask the Cabinet Secretary how the Government is maximising opportunities for them to provide final feedback during this consultation phase before it is put into use?
Cabinet Secretary.
I'm grateful to the member for his support in the development of the revised guidance. As I mentioned, we are running an engagement project to gather young people's views. Scottish Youth Parliament and Young Scot will facilitate face-to-face sessions with representative groups of young people and run a survey to seek their views on the revised guidance. This will run in tandem with the public consultation and will be reflected in the final version of the teaching guidance, which will be published in the new year. LGBT young people are also encouraged to contribute where they can or to engage with representative organisations like LGBT Youth Scotland, Stonewall Scotland or LGBT health and wellbeing to help them contribute to the consultation.
It's just, and I actually ended it too early there because she goes on to talk about how she just visited a primary school in the last few weeks. It's the first primary school in the entirety of Scotland that's managed to achieve its gold award for LGBT education. But nonetheless, ginger pubes, thank God that the curriculum is more LGBT inclusive now, because I've been speaking to queer students and they've been telling me they've had to watch porn because there wasn't enough talk of LGBT inclusive sex in sex education. I mean, what the fuck's going on here? I mean, I don't know even if there's any truth to what he said there, but nonetheless, what a world we are living in, where that is discussed openly in our parliament. Quite frankly, I don't give a fucking hoot if some degenerate or non-entity who classifies himself as queer doesn't know how to have sex because they weren't taught about it in school. The simplistic birds and the bees used to fucking fit the bill. But if you want to wander about claiming to be a queer, then that's the onus is on you. But for Ginger Boy to stand in our parliament and bring up their plight as if it's justification for why our education needs to be even more gayified, it really just goes to show the state of Scottish quote-unquote nationalism, folks. Because remember, when he's not talking about queers watching porn, he's advocating for climate change and Scottish independence, because his priorities are in order. He's going to save us. He's going to save the white race. He's going to save the world from CO2 when he's not talking about queers watching porn.
Why are we even having sex education in primary school?
Probably because our governments are all corrupt to fuck, following guidance from the United Nations and UNESCO.
This, whatever happened to the notion of let children be children?
Well, break down a society, you obviously fucking have to not just break down the family unit, but you have to effectively sort of create a wedge between parent and child. Break down the genders, break down normality, and they're doing a pretty good fucking job of it when you look back and analyze it all.
There shouldn't be any form of sex education before what used to be called third form, what is now called year 10. And that should be based on biological facts. How reproduction system works, how babies are made,
the bare minimum.
The menstrual cycle,
See if I can get that draft up.
That women can give birth, men can't. That sort of basic level. That's all it's needed. Some stuff about sexually transmitted diseases and a little bit about healthy relationships, and that's it done.
No, I totally agree. That's what it was when I was in school.
Yeah,
it was just literally the bare minimum. There was none of this nonsense. I mean, it's just going far too far now. The fact, because back to what I was saying at the start of this too, in all honesty, there's another example of it when you start to go a bit further than just the concept of LGBT, but the fact that they're just totally breaking the fourth wall in regards to trying to push this notion that sex and gender are two separate entities, it's just total fucking waffle. It's nonsense. They're one and the same. They're synonymous. They always have been. But now it's two separate things. And they do this because then it gives them a justification to be able to push for eradicating gender. You can be wherever you want to be. Blah, 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 blah. Just never ending. But it's just, it's funny though, that ginger boy's gay, I think. And then you've got the women. She's a lesbian as well. They're all fucking gay. Is this the fucking document?
How far do you go down that line before of men can be women can be men, anybody can be a moon, and how far before you get to the point where if you can identify as 7 to have sex with another 7-year-old. because that's a logical end game of this.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong, man.
Once you start to lose actual definitions, nothing means anything.
No, we are not. Like, it's obviously the trajectory that we're headed. It's two-pronged. There's that aspect of it, and the other aspect, obviously, is it's just again, as I said, kind of break down families. You know, they can eradicate the concept of gender completely. Then there'll be no, in their head anyway, then there'll be no sort of natural instincts to wish to mother a child or to yearn for a family and whatnot. Like, the mere thought of it is sort of disempowering. Is this the document here? I've got the fucking document, right? I meant to do a video on this, honestly, but it's just, who voted for this, eh? You know what I mean? Like, talk about voting and democracy and whatnot. Who voted for this? But Sensen, you've said fucking hee-haw in ages, even there, mate.
No, mate, I'm too busy voting Labour, mate.
Oh, is that right? Aye. Well, you do that, mate. You got anything to add at all, though? No?
Well, yeah, I have, because it's 100% wrong, because doesn't matter what kind of education it is on the sex education side. I don't care if you're gay, straight, or whatever the fuck you want to identify as this week. That should only occur in the late teen years. In other words, what would be classed as the O-level years, so the last 2 years of school. Before that, kids don't need it. You know, at the very latest, it should be sort of when they enter their teen years. They certainly don't need it at 4 and 5 like all of these other ones, and they don't need it at 7. Just let kids be kids. It's absolutely abhorrent. And old Ginger Nut there saying like, oh, they had to use porn to, you know, well, you know, he's saying that as though, oh, you know, this is how they get in their information. Well, all kids. Well, when I say all kids, all sort of older children have a proclivity to try and investigate and find out about what goes on, whether that be through the old media of magazines and whatnot, or VHS tapes, or wherever that may be. And so will that continue. The problem is that when he's talking about to find their kind of shtick, which is being pushed on them, which are being told about. So they're being told about our sex and bloody hide the sausage and scissoring and all this kind of bullshit. Well, of course, you're not going to see any kind of standard, what was traditionally called standard manuals, you know, doing any of that kind of bullshit, because it's anti-nature. It shouldn't be fucking part of the curriculum, you know. And the very fact that they've put those thoughts in those children's mind at such a young age, they are the ones who need to be fucking struck off. End of story.
No, you meant a lot, like, it's deviancy. Funny enough.
That's exactly what it is, deviancy.
And I mean, if you look at the state, I don't know the demography of teachers in England, but like, if you look at the vast majority of teachers in Scotland, they're all like, quite a lot of them are new young women, because a lot of the old guard have left, but then you've still got like the old fucking feministy type women and whatnot. A lot of them are women. It's overly women now, but it's a lot of, there's nothing against women, but I'm saying it's like, it's thick women, dimwits that are pushing the shit. But I mean, look how it's entrenched with other things. This document, it says that the delivery of this education should reflect the drive towards improved awareness, understanding, and realisation of child rights across Scottish public policy, public service, and society as a whole. The incorporation of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child is an important part of the context of progressing Scotland's children's rights in Scotland. What has sex education got to do with children's rights? Okay, you tell me. Well, that's the standard practice in Scottish academia.
Right. See, here's the thing. If one of the rights that you're going to give them is to identify as whatever gender they want, with no lower age limit, they need to be taught what the genders are in order to understand what their choices are.
Yeah. And then they have a right, as it says there, actually, fucking scroll a wee bit up. They have a right to express a view and have that view taken into account. It's the right for the best interests of the child to be a primary consideration. The right to life, survival, and development. Isn't that nice, huh? It's great that we needed the United Nations to come in and put this into place, because it wasn't like sort of commonly accepted anyway that children had a right to life and whatnot, and they had a right to express views, etc. But now thank God the United Nations came in to save the day with their annoying fucking charter that supersedes Scottish law. You know, thank God. You do realise it's down in England as well, but I don't think it's been enshrined into law. It's not been ratified there. But Scotland, of course, has to take one for the team, and we'll do it first, folks. So, yeah, standard. But yeah, not going to go for all this, obviously, but it's just there was some things in it that I remember reading that were a bit fucking weird, but it was a while ago. Maybe, oh, there we go. There we go. Like such, this. The LGBTI Inclusive Education Working Group's report to the ministers recommended the government's develop national guidance outlining their expectations regarding LGBT inclusive education while signposting practitioners and supporting resources. Right. But anyway, it says here that these thematic outcomes should cover various themes related but not exclusive to LGBT equality and inclusion, including terminologies and identities. Right. The impact of social prejudice. Fuck off. Yeah, that's better work. There we go. Social prejudice and the history of social rights movements, the equality of people, families, and relationships presented in an inclusive manner, and how to recognize and respond to prejudice within school and wider society. Terminologies and identities. The guidance reflects those recommendations. Oh. And then it says that they want the curriculum positions all learners at the heart of education, supporting them to be. So we've heard that shit before. There was a few other things. If I can't find it in due course, I'll just fucking bin it, in all honesty. But it's worth a read for people that haven't read it, if you've not seen it. Purely, well, especially if you're in Scotland anyway, purely because, yeah, this is coming soon. And, it's for the best, as Ross Greer pointed out, quite rightly so, that if it wasn't for this, then queer pupils would be watching porn. And we can't be having that, because at the end of the day, they'll be watching porn anyway as part of the curriculum. So why not do it in an inclusive manner? I'm fucking joking, and not sadly, porn has been normalized in some schools, so don't know why, but it is. Yeah, I'd have to go through it again. It was a while ago, but yeah, that's coming. So I have a feeling you're man in that chat, but your chat, by the way, Toffee, if you're listening, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Remember the certain man a while ago that accused me and you of sending him to a jail? Pretty sure that's him with a different name, eh?
Right. Yeah. Thanks for that info. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just the way he's typing. A bit erratic, like. Pretty fucking similar vibe.
Right. Okay. Could you two talk about something for a moment? I need to do a little bit of admin stuff.
Fuck's sake. Well, pretty much think I'm out of stuff now, really. I mean, all I've done today is just clip shit, really. But that's that. Have a wee look at my channel, see what else there is, huh? So you've been quiet tonight, like you pissed, mate. You can't handle the Lamborghini, mate. Ah, you've like fuck guy.
No. Here we go. Here's one.
Won't be done now. Won't be done. Oh, you knew it.
It's a story from this week. 19 hours ago, it was a hot take. Only 19 hours ago.
Not you. Oh, there's one actually. Oh, there's two. I don't know. I'm not doing both. I'll ask 42 when he comes back. Which one you want? Let's send him to his story first. But I don't want to put both my stories on, but they're both sort of feminist related. So either the juryless rape trials in Scotland. Okay, won't be done. The juryless rape trials in Scotland, or them still talking about the gender pay gap. Like, it's fucking retarded. It's like, I really don't like the idea of juryless rape trials, to be honest. It's just fucking.
Yeah, well, a juryless rape trial is a kangaroo court because you're going to have, they have a problem in that there's a lot of false rape accusations that start to go through the justice system. Some of them get binned during the process, and some of them go to court and get found, and the man gets found not guilty, and they don't like that happening. So let's get rid of the pesky juries that are coming to logical conclusions based on the evidence.
I saw that one.
It's interesting that you say that, because like when you listen to them like explaining it from like the clip that I took, it's like, despite all the criticism that's coming from the legal profession, they're still willing to press on ahead with it, and their justifications just fucking waffle. They seem to believe, or they're trying to imply, that if they just remove juries, it might go a long way in helping to eradicate the apparent stigma that's attached to the accusations of rape. So they think that so they basically are, well, you hear if I played the clip, but basically, a long story short, that if it was just the rape accuser and that individual in question and the judge, then there's more likely to be a conviction. That just screams to me as if you're trying to apply pressure on judges. Then they'll, well, we better convict the guy, even if there's not enough to go on, because if we don't, then we're going to be in hot water with the government because they're trying to get their statistics up. They want more rape convictions. Like, I don't know. It does not sit right with me at all. I mean, obviously, I've got a lot of sympathy if somebody was genuinely raped and they can't get it proven or whatever the fuck, but I'm looking at the innocent people here.
The stigma is not attached to making an accusation of rape. The stigma is attached to being accused of rape. That's what the stigma is. We have a policy that once someone makes a rape accusation, they have got an anonymity for life. We have no policy of anonymity for men accused of rape until they are actually found guilty. And by the way our rape laws are set up, rape is defined as forced penetration, and that obviously does not include forced to penetrate. So therefore, if a woman forces a man to have sex with her, which can be done and is done quite regularly, that doesn't count as a rape. These issues go on and on and on. We have cases where 30-year-old women have had sex with 14-year-old boys, and she has received a suspended sentence, and the father said it was probably the boy's fault because he's a dirty wee bastard, which would never happen the other way around. We have the legal system is already weighed very heavily in the favor of women, particularly in rape cases. The absence of due process is going to become a problem to genuine rape victims, because they'll get at the stage where it hasn't actually properly been proven, and they don't have the correct level of whenever they say it's been proven in a court of law that it was a rape, it's not going to hold the same weight, because anything could be proven in a court of law without a jury.
Yeah,
crazy.
Exactly, and I think as well, in theory, long term down the line, it could be used for very, very, very fucking malevolent purposes. You know?
Oh, definitely.
You're just fast tracking people in the jail. Could be potentially.
if you under that system, if you want somebody locked up, all you gotta do is find somebody willing to make an accusation.
Yeah, exactly. Now, obviously, this clip here is like fucking. Well, it was a minute in, but there's like 7 minutes. Not playing it all, but I just want to hear fucking your man Hamza. Obviously, they're reading scripts, but it's whoever's reading these scripts are the ones that are obviously pushing these policies. That's the point here. So this woman, to her credit, I don't like her, but she actually does something that's very rare, and that is to actually say that she's not in favour of it. But yeah, we'll hear a bit of this. Like,
there is the evidential difficulty that most alleged victims and the accused were in a relationship, sometimes even after the alleged crime, and that may influence the low conviction rate no matter what we use. The right to a fair trial under the European Convention of Human Rights, which is embedded in the Scotland Act, as this may affect the accused. And I think crucially, as the government, I understand, is to assess the efficacy of this pilot. For me, this trespasses on the principle of the separation of powers of legislature and judiciary, an extremely serious issue. So will the First Minister confirm there will be robust scrutiny of this proposal, that his government has an open mind as reflecting on these concerns and indeed my concerns?
First Minister.
Yes, of course, we will be open-minded in our consideration of the legislation. And that's why the committee stage of this bill, the evidence gathering stage of this bill, is such a crucial part of the legislative process. It allows us to hear quite robustly, often quite powerfully, the various arguments being put forward. And I do go back to my point, of course, that this recommendation for a time-limited pilot of judicial trials is coming from a review conducted by the second most senior judge, a very experienced judge, I think a judge who commands respect right across the political chamber, as Lady Dorian does. And therefore, it's important we do give that weight, as we do also give weight to those voices who have expressed concern, not just the judiciary, but we know many members of the legal profession too. So we will, of course, give that weight. We will also give the voice of victims and survivors weight in this decision and the passage of this bill too. And we do need to improve the experience of rape complainers. I think all of us absolutely accept. I think all of us would also accept the rape myths that do exist within juries as well. And maybe I'll end with a quote from Rape Crisis Scotland, which has stayed with me since my days as Justice Secretary and to this very day. And I quote them, that many survivors describe the process of going to court more traumatic than the rape itself.
We've been hearing this drivel. We've been hearing this drivel for years. It originates from Women's Aid.
yeah, but the stigma thing as well. Like, so the theory that's being proposed here is that the only reason that rape convictions don't end up, well, rape accusers don't end up being convicted is because of alleged stigma. In fact, there's a part of the clip where one of the suggestions that's been put forth is to educate jurors to try and to eradicate the stigma. But the theory being, though, that if they have juryless trials, it will lead to more convictions. And just to quote what you said there, it's shameful, the lack of convictions. So what, you think removing the jury is going to end up, by default, meaning more convictions? What happens if there's not? Like, I don't know.
Oh, well, there will be, because
judges will have to.
Right.
And they want to remove the other thing as well. Remember, we spoke about they want to remove the not proven verdict as well, which will force judges to make either a decision one way or the other. I mean, it's fucking malevolent. Like, I don't know how I feel. I mean, fuck rapists are disgusting people anyway. They're scum of the earth. But what about the people that are innocent?
Well, the problem is the problem is a lot of what goes to the police as a rape is actually regret.
Yeah.
What happens is they do stuff and they go, I don't do that. That's not me. He must have raped me. And then they go to the police, or it can be for spite. It can be because they've broke up. It can be for a whole multitude of reasons, and where the legal and where they're having a problem in court is that the cases where consent has been withdrawn after the event don't get prosecuted, and they get the person gets a not guilty verdict or not proven, and they really don't like this. The other problem with the jury is the jury's anonymous. You're not allowed to photograph the jury, not allowed to video them, not allowed to put them on camera, not allowed to let people know who they are. They go in there, they listen to the whole case, then they go in their deliberation room, and they make their decision. Very hard to put pressure on a jury. We have laws around that.
If they're forced to, when they remove the not proven verdict, that will put pressure on juries.
Yeah,
because as it stands at present, a sort of trial can be thrown out if the jury doesn't agree, but you can't go down that route now. You have to make a decision.
Oh well, yes, and that'll put it on a yes or no footing, which will put pressure on the juries. But you can't turn up at a juror's house and protest because they gave the wrong verdict because you don't know who they are. Now the judge who's making the decision, everybody knows who he is. And you can turn up at his house. You can turn up at his golf club. You can turn up outside the court. Well, there are restrictions around the court and whatnot, but you can find him in everyday life and do protests. And these people have a pretty low tolerance for changing their opinions whenever it is politically expedient, and that way you can get all the convictions you want.
Yeah. No, that's a fucking very valid point. I never even thought of that. To be honest. Sensman, what do you think about this? Like,
I think that the right, especially, I mean, you've got the magistrates course, which deals with what would be termed as misdemeanors or petty crimes. But for major crimes, including rape, murder, armed robbery, that kind of thing, I think it's only right and just that you be judged based on the evidence in front of 12 members of your peers. In other words, 12 ordinary people within your location or with similar backgrounds or whatever, because obviously you go through jury selection processes. But I would much rather my fate be handed to a jury which hopefully had been selected by the defense and the prosecution to give both sides an even number of opinions, shall we say, because you have so many refusals, so that, you know, that when it gets down to jury selection, there's not just 12 people there, there's probably 60, or, you know, depending on the case, there could be 40, 50, 60 people, and they get whittled down based on the answers that they present when they're being selected. So, you know, if you've got somebody who's been convicted of some crime relating to a particular type of, you know, incident or type of crime or area or whatever, and you get jurors in and you say, well, where are you from? Oh, I'm from this area. So you might want to preclude them straight away, especially if you think they're going to be a hostile witness. So at the end of the day, you hope, but unfortunately, like I say, if the state is the prosecutor and the only defender is a state defender, which in a lot of our cases, like dissenters, that's all we end up with, because we haven't got little NGO groups and fucking shit lib groups who are willing to put, you know, £1,000 an hour briefs free of charge on our cases because they want rid of us. So, you know, if you've got, let's just say, if you've got an even jury, I would much rather them make a decision based on the evidence presented by the prosecution and the defence, rather some malicious fucking twat judge with a bee in the bonnet. Either way, I don't care. It's if justice is supposed to be blind, then I want a blind fucking judge to be able to do that. What a judge's role, a justice's role, is effectively to referee, you know, the arguments put forward by the defence and the prosecution within the remit of the law. If we make judges literally judge dreads, in other words, you know, prosecutors, captures or whatever, you know, the three term that was used for Judge Dredd, you know, crime executioner or whatever it's called. If we make them, and we know how the judiciary is being infiltrated with leftist shitbags, then, you know, if you were going into a jury trial and you rock up and the judge is a fucking blue-haired, short-back and nasty wanker with a fucking septum ring, you know you're getting sent down.
Well,
because go on, mate.
You do know that judges are disqualified from being on juries, do you?
Yeah, but if there is no jury, who's going to make the decision?
Right. Yes, but the reason why judges aren't allowed to be on a jury is because they're overqualified to be there. The way our justice system is supposed to work, you've got a judge that referees. You've got the defendant, you've got the prosecutor, the defendant's got his lawyer. The judge makes the decisions on which bits of evidence are legally admissible and which are not. The prosecution tries to get all their best stuff in. The defense tries to get all their best stuff in. The judge referees in between. And then they hear the whole case. The jury, who are not legally trained, and all those lawyers, they're there to debate, argue, and present the legal elements of everything. The jury, who are not legally trained, are there to make a decision on, did this person act reasonably? Did they not act reasonably? If I was in their position, would I do the same thing? Would I do something different? They're there to decide basically on the right and wrong without all the legal knowledge, which is the double security blanket for getting good convictions or acquittals. Whenever you put a judge into that role, he's no longer just thinking about the right or wrong. He's thinking about it from his legal mind, and maybe they should have put in some other information, or maybe they shouldn't, and something was legally wrong, and I'm going to make that decision based not just on the rights and wrong, but also on his legal opinion on the case.
But, and that would be good if it was an even split down the middle on what judges thought. Unfortunately, as we have seen far too many times, just look, I mean, I'm not carrying water for Tommy Robinson, but just look at the way the judge treated Tommy Robinson. And, you know, oh, this is a complete breach of thing, I'm sending you down, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. They've literally taken the law into their own hands and made those decisions without, you know, any kind of intervention from the peers. So I'm sorry, if judges, it's a bit like that same argument that I was talking about on my stream earlier on when No Chance and DJ did an impromptu stream last week, and they had Simon on from the Homeland Party. It's literally saying, oh, well, yeah, we'll be all right because the police are not all bastards. And this is exactly the same thing, you know. It's like, oh, we'll be all right because, you know, not all of the judges are bastards. I mean, I remember in the sort of the 80s and the 90s, there was that Yorkshire fucker called Judge Pickles. You remember him? And all of the lefties fucking hated him. Not because he wasn't taking the law to the letter of the land, but because he was. because he wouldn't be lenient when it came to cases of BAME rage and shit like that. He would say, no, you're going to get fucking sent down. I don't give a shit what your background is. You're guilty, fuck off. And that's the way it should be. Unfortunately, that, just like the police force or the police service as it is now, which is, cheers, fucking Roy Jenkins, you cunt. They are all political. Not all of these positions. So a judge should be apolitical and should have no bias one way or the other. It doesn't matter who that person is in the dock, what sex, gender, religion, race, or whatever. That's the way it's supposed to be. But as we've seen time and time again, not just here, but especially in the United States, I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that it's just as bad here. If you're straight, male and pale, right, you're going to get the fucking boot thrown at you. Look at this last one that came out last week in America where, there was a copper, did a proper bloody takedown or whatever, and the bloke was going to room over the car or some shit like that, or whatever it was. And that was the license for, that entire sort of orc demographic to just fucking loot the rest, every single fucking town in America. That's exactly what happens every single instance where they don't get the fucking result that they want. In fact, half the time I'm certain that they're begging that they don't get the result that they want, so they can go and ransack the nearest Apple store and the nearest this and the nearest that. And then today, in the next breath, I see old Trump monster, Donald Trump, saying, if I get back in power and you go and do this looting and fucking terrorizing shops and that, when you exit that stores, expect to be shot. Which is great stuff if you're a gammon and that's that little bit of red meat. The reality is, what will happen when Donald Trump gets in? Nothing will happen. You won't rebuild the wall. That kind of shit, even though it's justified and should fucking happen, like blow away all these fucking criminals, literally what should happen. If they were a scourge on society, society would be a lot better. Remove them from society by fair means or foul. That's what Trump was saying. If you're going to leave that store looting, you're going to get fucking shot. Good. I applaud that. Will it happen? Will it fuck? Because nothing ever happens. And like I say, I will always put my sort of arse on the line in front of 12 of my idiot fucking thick as pig shit peers who may have some semblance of common sense and who may relate to my particular situation at that time than some snotty-ass, twat-faced cunt of a judge on 500,000 a year, right, who's a lefty fucking shill, right, who'll just basically send me down because I am who I am. Fuck that. No chance.
We had diplomatic courts over here for all the terrorist-related stuff because it was considered impossible to get a fair jury that wasn't either A, already politically biased to one side, or B, capable of being intimidated. So they did all those trials with judges, and it wasn't brilliant. It didn't always get the result of the cheat. There was a case in Londonderry where they had pretty much all of the Irish Republican Army members banged their rights because they had a agent, a guy that was had for 3 or 4 years been giving them information, and then he gave them the last bit where it was told them where the M60 machine gun was. They lifted that, and then he had to be got out because it was obvious that's where the information came from. And he identified everybody that was involved with the IRA in Londonderry, the leadership, the whole fucking shebang, and they had them in court. And the judge decided that the guy who'd been working with the intelligence services, infiltrating the IRA for 4 years, was an unreliable witness and just fucking let them all go. So, and that's obviously been a political decision. And I think that by having judges judge rape cases, you're going to get the result that the system wants, regardless of the facts.
Aye, because I think as well, like, even if they're not just by default sort of lefty dickheads, some of them, maybe not all, might start to feel the pressure when it comes to, like, say there's not really that much to go on, and ordinarily they probably would have said not proven, when they know that the government is looking over them, and every feminist organisation like Rape Crisis Scotland is looking at them in order to determine whether or not removing the juries leads to more convictions. And remember, that's really all this is about. They believe that it's unacceptable that there's a low conviction rate. I can't help but feel that that might add some pressure on the people and make them feel compelled, or judges, I should say, make them feel compelled to put guilty when ordinarily they would have put not proven, just to save themselves being part of the fucking problem, the alleged problem. Yeah.
Do you know who trains the judges about rape cases and domestic abuse cases?
That I don't know.
Oh, Rape Crisis Scotland, Women's Aid.
Oh dear. Okay.
So, right, see for the last for however long Rape Crisis Scotland has been a thing, and for the last, I'd say, 40 years, Women's Aid have been training judges in how to recognise domestic abuse and rape.
Okay. Right.
So,
well then, if they're totally trained and then they go into this courtroom without the jury, are they then going to have a wake-up call and realise that maybe, just maybe, some of their training was hee-haw and it's got fuck all to do with juries and their bias, that there's not enough evidence to go on or whatever? Or are they just going to roll with it anyway because of their training? I don't know.
Yeah, well, the other thing is, why the fuck are NGOs training judges?
Fuck. Your guess is good as mine,
make sure they get the convictions that they want.
Right.
In other words.
Oh, by the way, they also train the police.
Yeah.
See, whenever the police get as far in their training where they've got to learn about domestic abuse, it's the likes of Women's Aid, Refuge, the rape crisis centres that come in and train the police about how to deal with that.
And it's not completely biased from the women's perspective at all, I'm guessing.
No, definitely not. They wouldn't use all their bullshit theory and their made-up invented facts.
Yeah, and it's really sad. It is very sad because it dilutes the cases where that actually happens.
Do you want to know how Women's Aid get their figures that they put out for the amount of women that are murdered in domestic abuse cases?
How Women's Aid get their figures? Do they wear corsets?
No, they don't. So Women's Aid will give the police and the politicians and all a figure for the amount of women in England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland that have been murdered by in domestic abuse. But it turns out that's the figure of women that have been murdered in the country during that period. And there are actually women that are murdered that is not via domestic abuse.
Yeah.
But this is what they're going in and teaching the police and the judges.
Not even
And
that, they're going a
that's-
step further there when you look at how they've started to redefine words as far like
Yeah.
you know the terms like gender-based violence. Now you would assume when you hear that term, that sounds like punching fuck out a woman, right? That's only part of it. It's like disparities and whatnot now, like everything you can think of, wolf whistling, the whole shebang. But so much so though that they've redefined domestic abuse. And the whole narrative for their definition actually falls flat on its face when you include men being the victims, that they deliberately exclude them in order for their new and improved definition to work. And I'm obviously paraphrasing here, but I could easily pull this up. And I'm pretty sure the stream we did about feminism a while ago, I did pull it up.
Yeah.
The Scottish government have redefined domestic violence to effectively boil down to misogyny, of course.
Yeah.
And it's men treating their status that they feel as superior. They see women as subordinate in nature, and they're effectively exerting their power over them, because they see them as beneath them. So it's nothing to do with the fact that in some instances in domestic violence cases, men are the man in particular is just a fucking fruitcake. Like most people don't engage in shit like that. I mean, the same rhetoric is also applied to rape. They say that rape happens because men are misogynistic, and they go so far, and I'm not even joking, they say that outdated stereotypes that are drummed into children in nursery, by the time they reach nursery age, they have these attitudes ingrained within them, and it's these attitudes where they see girls as beneath them and they feel that they're subordinate, etc., etc. So their sort of go-to explanation to how we can solve rape is apparently just then go in and promote feminism to nursery children, etc., etc. But think about it this way. So there's a classroom full of boys sat there, and they're all being dictated to about why girls are just as equal, etc. Do you think the potential rapist in waiting at the back of the fucking room is going to go, do you know what? I was going to grow up to be a rapist, but the words of wisdom I've just heard there changed my ways. No. What's going to happen is you will have preached to the whole classroom, the whole choir, and all the boys in there that had fucking nothing wrong with them, that's just going to go in one ear and out the other, preaching to the choir. That one little potential rapist at the back of the classroom still fucked up in the head, mate. Because it's nothing to do with misogyny, etc. But this is what they're doing now. Everything's a feminist construction.
The other thing, like whenever you're talking about domestic abuse, then they added control and coercive behaviour in it. And one of the
they do here.
Right, yes. Oh no, that's standard. That's right across the Western world. The Violence Against Women and Girls Act, its last major update was the Istanbul Convention. Right. So now it can be argued that one of the things is about controlling money and not providing. Now, if you tell your partner, no, we can't go to Dubai on holiday this year because I can't afford it, that can be argued as, say, no, we can't go to Dubai. We can maybe manage 7 days in Megaloof. That's all the budget's for. She can claim that she's being controlled, that she's that there's a financial abuse there because he hasn't provided this for her. And real world, it's not really going to fly, but it's in the theory. And it's the backbone
of all their fucking policy.
Yeah, it's. And the other thing is, whenever you look at the Violence Against Women and Girls Act, it's basically a perpetrator rehabilitation program to be rolled out to all men, regardless of whether or not they've offended. And that's why it's in schools. That's why it's in schools from early. And it goes. This starts off with the Duluth model, which you might have seen in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case, where they did a study in Duluth. I think it's in Minnesota. They studied 5 people, 3 female victims, 2 male perpetrators, and they decided that the reason why the male perpetrators did it was because they felt entitled to services from women, and they thought it was socially acceptable for men to use force against women. Now, you walk into any room you want, and a room full of men, and go, everybody thinks it's okay to beat their wife, stick their hand up. No fuckers putting their hand up. It's not true. But they then developed the Duluth model. The Duluth model got a lot of shit because it got a lot of flack because it was only on 5 people, and it's blatantly wrong. And then Carol Hagman White did a similar study with a larger group, but she got her sample group from prisons of perpetrators and not the general public, and that said pretty much that the reason why men abuse is because they feel entitled to, and they feel it's socially acceptable and all this other bullshit. And then they get that put in, and it's used to form government policy, and that government policy is that men and boys feel that women are of a lower class, that they're entitled to hit them and all this, and they would need to go into schools and teach the boys not to. It's it's also a big fuck off money grab, because the money that's ring fenced for these laws, generally speaking, goes to the activists. Because
it's just interesting there when you mentioned the United Nations, because I was looking at the definition there just to refresh my memory of what they say, but I've shared the top there just quickly, like the fucking like this is obviously the Scottish government's equally safe delivery plan, you know. Just a wee brief bit here. It says it's a strategy for preventing and eradicating violence against women and girls. Now, again, let me reiterate: when you hear violence against women and girls, you assume men punching fuck out of women or children. Doesn't mean that. It's only a very small part of it. But anyway, it says here, just in the second paragraph, that the aim of the strategy is to foster collaborative working between key partners in public, private, and third sectors to achieve this vision. Our strategic approach is drawn from the, of course, United Nations definition of gender-based violence. And then this bit here, which recognizes that it is a function of gender inequality, that it is an abuse of male power and privilege. And get this bit, and that women and girls experience violence and abuse because they are women and girls, right? Like, that's a bit of a reach. You know, I'm pretty sure if you put 2 men in a room and one of them had a tendency to be a bit violent and controlling, he's not going to go, do you know what, John? I'm in the mood to beat someone up, but you're a man. I need to go out and find a woman, right? They're fucking gay. I'm pretty sure it's to do with sexuality, but no, the feminists will have you believe otherwise. But of course, it's a very convenient thing to put out there, is it not? Because they don't need to prove that. They don't need to prove any of that shit. That sentence alone is enough for them to then, as it's in the previous page, just on the same bit, where it says up here, the equally safe strategy for preventing and eradicating violence against women and girls focuses on the need for prevention of violence. Their priorities are, first bullet point, achieving greater gender equality. Now, why would you need to say that? Well, of course, because of the paragraph I just read out prior, where they try to imply that gender-based violence occurs because of fucking misogyny, you know, and men thinking that they've got a higher status than women, attitudes that embolden their violence, etc. It's just fucking waffle. None of this is founded on any legitimate truth or anything of the sort. It's just feminist BS that's effectively been able to manifest itself unabated all across the country. And to such a fucking degree, though, which is most worrying about it, it's dictating policy. You know, and then again, United Nations is mentioned, but there is, they say here that they want to work collaboratively, blah, blah. Their priorities is Scottish society embraces equality and mutual respect and rejects all forms of violence against women and girls. Women and girls thrive as equal citizens because the implication there being they're not equal at present. Socially, culturally, economically, and politically, interventions are early and effective preventing violence and maximizing the safety and the well-being of women and children. Men desist from all forms of violence against women and girls, and perpetrators of such violence receive a robust and effective response. Men desist from all forms of violence. Again, some sort of weird underlying implication there being it's just an attitude problem. You know, if they can see the error of their ways, they'll stop it. It's just waffle. But again, even what I've just read out there, it didn't take long for it to be snuck in again. Every single opportunity these feminist cunts will get, they will take to shove in their shite, the same way that they're trying to do in schools now. You know, like what in their feminist nonsense in schools. I've even got a video on my channel where they've used Andrew Tate as an excuse to update some more gender equality publications for schools to take and, you know, present to their classrooms because of Andrew Tate. You know, any excuse, any fucking excuse. I hate feminists.
Right, 1 second. I get this up. Right. Bump, 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 bump. Zoom this in just a little. Right, this post is not supposed to be a complete coverage of every statistic that exists in the world about domestic abuse. It should be seen as a snapshot, something to make you think twice, question the perceived norm. It should present you a choice to do your own research, take nothing for granted, except that male victims of domestic abuse are a larger group than assumed. General stats are 1 in 4 women and 1 in 6 men. That sources Police Service Northern Ireland are victims of domestic abuse, and it's accepted that 1 in 3 victims of domestic abuse are male. However, these raw stats ignore the fact that abuse is reciprocal, meaning 60% of abuse is reciprocal, meaning 2 violent people hitting each other. When Erin Pizzey opened Refuge, the first government-backed shelter for battered women, she found that 60 of her first 100 clients were as violent or more violent than the partner they left. That's from whiteribbon.org. Erin is not alone in this view. Psychologists from University of Cambria, led by Dr. Elizabeth Bates, found women were significantly more likely to be verbally and physically aggressive to men than vice versa. There's another study from Harvard University found 70% of domestic violence was perpetrated by women against men. I should draw your attention to the work of Martin S. Filbert. His bibliography examines 286 scholarly investigations, 221 empirical studies, 65 reviews and analysis, which demonstrates that women are as physically aggressive or more aggressive than men in their relationships with their spouses or partners. The aggregate sample size of the review studies exceeds 371,600. Now, my point for putting all that up and going through that is it is well known that the laws that are in place to protect those men, prosecute the females, is the Violence Against Women and Girls Act.
I don't know if we've got one of them in Scotland.
Well,
might as well have one.
What Violence Against Women and Girls Act you have?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was put into the UK government, and it's UK wide.
Do you know though? It's better like what you read out there. I mean, it's pretty broken down in depth wise, like, but I mean, that alone just toe punts what I just read out. It just totally toe punts it into oblivion in the sense that the narrative they're trying to present is that men in domestic violence cases beat up their partner, their female partner, because they see that woman as subordinate and they're expressing their male power, etc. Okay, that's their theory. What happens when a woman does it to a man? Oh no, that's different. How's it different? Oh, I just did. No, how's it different? Like the narrative falls apart It's the same fucking thing they've done with misogyny in this country now, and misandry. I've gone through before. The hate crime bill now includes misogyny, but not misandry, because they've redefined misogyny to now effectively be, again, more or less the same thing about seeing women as subordinate and treating them as such, you know, and looking down on them, etc. Like, it's all about power dynamics and all this fucking nonsense, whereas misandry is still defined as misandry. So it's the same thing. It's just feminist overload. Like, I don't know how long or how far back you need to go to start to trace where this cabal really got a grip within society, but they really do permeate more or less every single ether of all that dictates policy to a certain extent. I mean, there's obviously hidden hands and whatnot, but everything is just feminist shit. Parliament's riddled with them. Every policy's riddled with them. The rhetoric's riddled with it. The school's riddled with it. The media's riddled with it. And I'm not even talking about fucking the West. I'm talking about Scotland. Yeah, man. It's bad, like. Very bad.
Yep. It's... There you go. I'll have a nosy and see if I can actually get the link for that poster regular, because that's what.
Be interested to see fucking. That's very difficult information to obtain. Breakdown of this, like in Scotland. I've tried in the past. I just can't.
It's hard to. Let me see.
I mean, I'm not even like asking for much. Just like a year, like 2021 or something, just to get a wee glimpse. Like, you know.
You'll get some stats off the is there a crime report?
I'm not sure.
There may be a crime report. There's a UK crime report comes out every year.
Oh, right, yeah. I know what you're talking about. I don't know if it was in that though. I've only ever really looked at the hate crime shit, to be honest.
Yep. The problem with the problem with crime reports is there is a hell of a lot of it just never gets as far as
just give you a wee snapshot, rough estimation.
If it doesn't go as far, if the case itself doesn't go as far as the judicial system and nobody gets prosecuted, then it doesn't make it on the report. What the studies do is they go at universities, will do studies, and they're talking to people that have not necessarily gone through the judicial system, and that's why their figures are quite a bit higher than the crime reports. I've lost that fucking log piece. This is not good.
Shite show, man. I don't fucking know. What's the latest on this anyway? What's this? Women's Justice Leadership Panel. The case for gendered and intersectional approaches to justice. I mean, oh my fuck. Oh my God. I've never come across this before. This was from the Scottish Parliament, 23rd of August. It's actually kind of recent. Oh my God. 72 pages. Yeah, nah, I'm not fucking going through that one out. Like, it says here, the report summarizes the work of the Women's Justice Leadership Panel, their thematic discussions, and their key findings, with the remit of the panel being to demonstrate that the experience of women in the justice system is different to men and to promote consistent understanding of gendered issues. AKA, that's different. Therefore, we need to impose feminism here to solve it. See that issue over there? You see how that's different? That's we need feminism in here. You know, just every fuck. They're like gonorrhea. Just get everywhere. You know about that sense, wouldn't you? Voting Labour and all that, you know, you kind of.
I'm going to vote Labour, yeah.
Red wall fucking gonorrhea shaggers, like, you know. No, he's got to, mate. Spray painting your wee Uncle Tyranny signs in the wall and that, like.
I'm getting a hammer and sickle tattoo tomorrow.
I bet you are. Getting your cock cut off too, eh?
You are?
Good man. So you getting your cock cut off too, eh?
No. I was thinking about getting the tattoo on my cock, but when I spoke to the tattoo artist, he said he didn't have a microscope, so he couldn't do that for me. So.
You poor fucker. You know what you should have done, mate? You should have just pulled up images of that RuPaul's Drag Race on your phone. All would have been forgotten.
Yeah. Old, what was he called? Ian Wright. Old Ian.
Caramel. Oh, Caramel opening another tab for after this being one.
Caramel. No. You can't have her. That was Toffees. You can't have her.
No.
Oh, talking about Ian Wright, I seen a video where people were going around and they had raised a chunk of money and they were buying back Ian Wright's trophies. They reunited him with his golden boot and a couple of medals he won playing football because his wife sold them all whenever they divorced.
Oof. Fucking hell.
Mm-hmm.
The dark side of marriage, huh?
Yep. She scooped them all up and got them sold.
Wow. Fair play to his fans, though.
Yeah.
It's a big effort, like. I wouldn't have bought him fuck all when I seen him on that RuPaul's drag thing, like, and fuck off, you know what I mean? Nah, mate. Bridges burnt, mate. Nah, I'm joking. Fucking
it was a likeness. He's on the telly now, isn't he? All right, he's doing that magic ball quiz or whatever it's called. Have you seen that? I haven't. I don't watch. I'm not a television watcher, but when I go see my auntie and uncle, they have shit TV on, literally just playing all the time in the background. And I went, oh, is that Ian Wright? You know, and he goes, yeah, he's a presenter on this quiz show. I goes, all right, what's this quiz show about then? And it was like, you know, like it was really, really top rock hard IQ questions like, what is 2 + 2?
That'd be fun there,
Is it 4, Ian? Let's have a look. Yes, it is 4.
No.
Right now, press the button on the magic ball and see if you've won any money. And they're like taking it dead serious, like, you know, oh yeah, we can guess where the magic ball's gonna go. You know, I mean, I suppose there is an element of skill in it, but it's like, you know, fuck off. And it's just like some of the questions they get. I'm sat there watching this shit, and I'm like, well, that's that, isn't it? Oh, yeah, but it gets a lot harder. When they start racking in the money, the questions get a lot harder. And then the next question, oh, that's that, isn't it? And it's like, and then you got these fucking Luddites on the telly sort of scraping their heads and scratching their ears. And, oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's like, well, it's that, isn't it? That's the fucking answer. And then they like manage to like struggle between themselves, all 2 of them or whatever it is. Oh yeah. And is that the right answer? Yes. Oh yeah, right. Press the magic ball and see what you've won. Oh, you've been sent. You've lost. See ya. Let's get the next contestants on.
That reminds me of my granddad there with Who Wants to Be a Billionaire back in the day. I swear if that man went on that show, he would have won it. He would sit there, he would get everything right, like every single question, and then here's me watching fucking catchphrase or what's that one with Bradley Walsh? The
Chasers.
The Chaser. I'll be out the first round. Oh mate, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'd make a good chaser.
If you want to see me just completely dilate all self-worth and whatnot, watch me attempting to humour myself while I play Countdown. No, is it Countdown? I was on the TV or something. Not that I watch TV that often, but it'll be everybody will be sitting there on the TV doing their big mathematical hot takes and whatnot, I'll be sat there with drool coming out my gob, confused, getting upset because I don't fucking know. And then it'll be the English one. I'm pretty good at English, like if my exam results ready to go by, but oh no, they're getting like, what word did you get? Oh, I got bim bim floom be himby, and I'm like, I got cat. Yeah,
The really interesting thing I found about Countdown, but being dyslexic, right? See the Countdown conundrum at the end, the big point thing.
Yeah.
I would either
But you get that every time.
No, more than half the time I got it in half a second because the letters drop down and it's got all the right letters but not in the right order. Well, that's how I fucking spell things on a daily basis. If the first and the last letter were in the right place, I would just read the word and have it out of me in like a second.
Yeah.
So I said you'd be the dark horse if we ever went on a countdown.
Yeah.
Like,
see all the other bits where you've got to actually know how to spell shit and all. And
oh yeah, mate, yeah, man, me and you both. English, I'm all right. Oh, but no, man, fuck that, man. I mean, I've never been diagnosed with a mathematical equivalent to dyslexia, but I did do tests for it in school, and I was supposed to get referred to a doctor, which just never happened. And safe to say, I tick all the boxes. So pretty sure I've got like.
Whenever I'm doing paperwork and work, if I'm doing it in a hurry, I'll put numbers in the wrong order. You know, so if someone should be 25, I'll put 52 or some shit like that. If I'm doing it in a hurry.
I'm the I see even counting change. Yeah, you can give me 10, 20p's now. Obviously that's £2. Ask me to count them out. Like I'll give you like £2.20, £1.80. No, that can't be right. £2.40. No, it can't be right. And I'll do this about 10 times. Or when I'm using my measuring tape at work, I'll sit and I'll look at it for fucking ages. Like, what is that? What is that? Again, I'm not sure what the fucking tape's saying. Just my brain spurgs out sometimes, so I have to like draw a little dot on the measuring tape so I know exactly what I'm supposed to be marking. It's fucking annoying. Huh? It's just I'm not nobody's perfect, mate. I'm perfect everywhere else, but not with numbers. Like almost a perfect man. And to Rory's question, no, but did I fuck too hard at school? I did French and I regret every moment of it. Yeah, I should have taken Gaelic, but I took French.
Well, you don't need to take garlic, you just take chili. Chili's better anyway.
I tell you what you didn't do in school, mate. I tell you, you didn't do a comedy class, did you?
No.
Should have, mate. You probably should have.
Well, if they'd have offered, I'd have probably got an A in that as well. But
well, I don't know about that. Like, if that's your material,
Lads, we're coming up on 3 hours and 20 past 1. Is there any other stories that you just want to?
No, mate, I'm good. If you are.
Nah, I'm all right, bud.
Yeah.
Fucking all burnt out now, like.
Yep.
Still got like fucking 6 beers to drink. Don't even know if I'm going to bother.
What beers are you drinking, Deej?
Stella.
Oh, right. So nothing strong then.
Fuck off, little mister. Canto. Do me fine, huh?
It's like you and Toffee, you're a pair of children, aren't you?
We don't like we Bud Lights or something, eh?
I'll tell you what, right? I'm not having this stuff. I'll tell you what, 42. You can do me one service.
Yep.
Which is I'll just show once again. DJ and Toffee's technical wizardry from during
just
the
goes
week.
to show the real boomer here is when
you've took him out. Play the video now. Play the video.
I know that.
Okay, hold on. Sorry. Sorry.
There was nothing. Like, this video implies I was being a thick cunt and all. There was nothing wrong with me in that moment.
The boomer moment was I took out DJ by mistake.
Hello, computer.
Just use the keyboard.
Tell you what, mate. I'm gonna have to pick a day when Coffee's not wearing his hair gel, and we're gonna have to wrap our heads together, like, and come up with something to get you back, dickhead. Because I'm not having this shite, like. You falsely labelled me as a boomer. You know,
I didn't
You've
label you as a
implied to everybody
boomer.
that's watched one of the these streams and whatnot that I had a boomer moment when I didn't. It wasn't me that was wondering why there was no stream chat. No, that was Toffee. So that's strike number one. Dickhead. Strike number two is for you playing it twice.
No. I'm going to be playing that a lot more often.
Oh, it's fucking libel, mate.
You know, this is your Constantine and Clive, so I'm going to be playing it all the fucking.
Oh, is that right?
Maybe he's mixing in with a couple of cherries.
You sure the cherry one isn't fucking my Constantine / Clive? No.
But anyway, yeah. So the reason why I came about 42 is because in the chat, the Triumvirate of Truth chat, Toffee was mentioning that he couldn't see the chat anymore on certain videos, and he was getting a bit peeved. So I went and had a look at the particular chat, and I could see it fine on my computer. You know, a computer, the real sort of sat there, and DJ says to Toffee, well, you see, on my Xbox, it's perfect. And I'm like sat there thinking, the fuck are these pair of wankers on about?
Because you're a boomer and you don't understand that technology has moved on from your box on a computer.
Right.
Now Xboxes have the capability to access the internet. So I can do all things on my Xbox that you can do on your shiny wee computer that's probably got a viruses from all the fucking vipergirls.com websites you've been on it. So,
yes. But what I'm saying is, I know that an Xbox is basically a PC under the scenes. However,
therefore, you've just made your previous statement
No, because you're pissing around with a fucking kiddie toy 2 fucking finger controller thingy, and you see, this was my argument. 42 when they were on about that, I said, well, I tell you what, lads, I'm just going to heat my pot noodle up in the fridge.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Because that's the same logic of these. No sense was. I'm not fucking fabricating. I'll tell you what. You better get in that chat and start deleting your text, because I'm going to be scraping those fuckers now and make a whole stream on it. And
please do, because then when you do this, you will then in turn prove that your video was just libel. So go for it.
It wasn't.
You do a stream on the whole thing, yeah. Yeah.
Did you mention your Xbox? It looks fine.
But you've just conceded
Xbox.
there. Oh, but my issue with you is because of your Wii controller. Well, so what? Like, it's still it's got a keyboard on the screen. And I guarantee if I sat next to you with a keyboard, I'd fucking wipe the floor with you, like.
Computer.
Rapid, boy. Tell you that.
Computer.
Well,
you think that? You think that?
No, I don't think, mate. I'm fucking fast with my mum, and she was a touch typist. And she was
well, I used to. When I went to college, there was a lad who used to claim he could type faster than he could think, and that's why it was always fucking gibberish.
I was just. I can assure you, mate.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, you go and enjoy your child's beers now. There you go. There's one cracked open. Your child's.
You go put on a bit of heartbeat, mate. Make sure you don't put your back out. Like, get your slippers on. You know. You Lamborghinis and that, like.
Lamborghini, you drinks that? That's all right. That's all right.
Like, you're fooling anyone. Like, what's this? I'm on the fucking pure strong shite. Bullshit, mate. Yeah, I'm the fucking Lamborghinis, like weekends.
Typing lessons? Fucking hell. Why would I have typing lessons? They didn't have keyboards when I was little. But anyway. Well, actually, no, they did. But it was like this fucking rock hard, touch sensitive thing on a ZX81, hardcore keyboards.
Oh, it's probably a bit too modern for you, though, mate. I suppose that's why you pointed it out.
Well, like I say, they were still using 8.25 inch discs when I was
Do either of you remember whenever floppy disks were actually floppy?
No.
Yeah, like I say, 8 inch. I had because they used to have 5.5 inch discs. But the original ones that which I think were 512K, if I remember rightly, but the 8 inch ones were 256K, 8.25 inch, 256K. single side floppy disks. Yeah.
I can't tell if you're making really crass jokes about cocks or if you're being serious right now.
No, that's serious.
No,
yeah.
no, seriously. See the wee square or rectangle ones that you had, Samson. Before that, there were circular, larger ones that were made out of like a rubber type thing, and you could roll them up like a newspaper. And that's where the term floppy disk comes from.
No,
You know, the penny just dropped there for me, how old you two are in comparison to me, and I'm going to have to just send a distress signal into the chat and say that I'm being groomed.
Yeah, you are being groomed to not use an Xbox for fucking stuff you should be doing on a computer.
Because PB Main might message me on it, you know, consensus.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I message you every day, and you still ignore me. I mean, like you only ever fucking post any of my stuff in your stream when it affects you because you're a bastard like that. But you know, I won't mention those.
Mate, my channel's fucking predominantly Scottish, so it's just Scottish related. I can't bombard my chat with fucking. This is what happened.
Oh, right. Sorry. Oh, I just thought. Well, sorry, that's my bad. I do apologise. I just didn't think you knew which fucking button on your Xbox controller to press. That was all.
Right.
Really, you know, it's quite. This shows how much of a boomer you are when you're trying to throw shade at me having an Xbox, as if that fucking in any shape or form is offended.
Was it the green button?
Like even your wee shanty attempts to is it your Lamborghini's getting your head bit? I don't even know what you're trying to get at. Oh, I bet you use your Xbox to type your message. Oh, shots fired, mate. Fuck. Oh, mate.
Right.
Fucking boomer.
Right, I'm off to heat me pot noodle up in the fridge.
Oh, so you are.
Right.
You're off for a nightcap, mate.
Samson, any last words?
No, nothing from me, mate. If I'm streaming, it'll probably be this time next week, even though William says that I'm never off the internet, which this weekend's probably closer to the reality, but normally I'm a once a weeker boy, you know, a bit like sex really. But anyway, but like I say, anybody who's still listening, keep an eye out for John Davison's stream to see if he does do a stream on Tuesday night, and hopefully see everybody there, mate. That's pretty much me.
Okay. DJ, what about yourself?
I'm just
streaming on my Xbox.
Nah, sweet. Well, I can't do that. That's fine. Just letting everybody in the chat though, please phone for help. I am convinced now that I've been politically groomed for nefarious purposes by an Ulster-man and a questionable Saxon. So please help me. Sophie, please. You know where you are. Please, my brother. Nah, man. Don't know how the fuck I got to this point. Honestly, after 2 streams, but another one bites the dust, buds. And to the few that are still lingering about, get to your fucking bed, all right? Or you might encourage Sensen to start sliding into your DMs. You don't want that.
Right. I'm going to stick the outro up.
Adios.
Adios.
Hello, this is 42 speaking. Welcome to the Resistance. You are not alone, and we shall walk this journey together. What about you, Sean? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. Let us gather together those that can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. We're from that grand house they tried to burn down. There's gold in the ashes if you look around. Let us gather together those that can perform, then from those scarred timbers build our own platform. Build our own platform. We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing world harmony, melody, and rhyme. descended from minstrels in old days of yore. We will create a culture as we did once before, forced to stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? So one brings a guitar and one brings a voice. Then they stand together and make their own choice. You have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. You have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. Forced to stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing we will sing harmony, melody, rhyme. Harmony, melody, and rhyme. So one brings a guitar and one brings a voice. Then they stand together and make their own choice. I have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. Power and wealth, you control the mainstream, but you never realized you could not kill a dream. So we will gather together those that can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. You're talking the 42. What about you, chum? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. Sing words of wisdom, we will sing for all time. We will sing for our people, harmony, melody, and rhyme. We will sing words of wisdom, we will sing for all time. We will sing for our people with the ancient trilogy of harmony, melody, rhyme. Through family God and tribe, the gods of water, earth, and land brought us through a land. The earth, the moon, the sun, each became a deity in the parts of another trilogy. Is it a coincidence or is it just a blind that we now bring you excellence in harmony, melody, and rhyme? With power and wealth, you control the mainstream, but you never realized you could not kill a dream. You cannot kill a dream. And we shall walk this journey together.
Sansom was Sansom, DJ was DJ. I've been 42. You lot in the chat have, as always, been fucking amazing. Thank you. Good night. God bless. See you all next week. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.